Here we are with another Saturday Night Live. Saturday.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Steve.
Can't hear you. Shit. Oh, fucking thing.
We can hear you. Just check your.
Hey, just barely though. Goddamn computer.
Computers are awesome when they work.
Yes, they are.
So, what's going on this week? Cheers, some kidney tea kombucha. Good stuff. Everything okay with everybody? It's very, very interesting times going on. Every week that goes by, it's something more crazy. It's really a big test for us all, and as
He's turning everything down on me. I don't know why.
computer.
Yep. It's like mutants. The speakers, the freaking microphone.
Yeah, it happens. I've had that happen.
Now we're good. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Let's say we're very interesting, trying times, getting more and more interesting every week. Mankind, womankind, it's we got to wake up and stand for our inalienable rights, or we're not going to have anything left with.
Every day it's more and more deeper and deeper.
Yeah, they're pushing really hard, so we got to keep focusing on the light and stand for what we know is truth.
Because I hear you're in London, correct?
Sorry?
Is I hear you're in London? Is it here?
Yeah, well, no, I'm in Bristol.
It's crazy over there too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, everyone's wearing masks in the shops, and but a load of people are waking up. So in the tomorrow, I'm going to a 5G protest outside around this mast that got installed overnight, and nobody knew about it. No one had been consulted locally, so no residents, no businesses knew, and it just came up overnight. And so we're doing a protest around it tomorrow. And I know loads of people are waking up to the common law, and they're, like Gina was saying, about inalienable rights, standing under God's law, removing oneself from their jurisdiction. Loads of people are waking up to that. I know there's a guy doing a lot of work in Canada on that. I think the website's called A Warrior Calls. And there's also a website called Earth United. So there's some good things happening. It's like, even though there's all this craziness, there's lots of synchronicity, lots of momentum around people waking up at the same time. So I think it's quite exciting.
Yep, it's good times, and we're gonna have some bumpy roads ahead still, but the light is pouring through at record rates. So
the shit these governors are pulling down here is freaking incredible.
The what is?
The crap that the governors in our states are pulling. It's just incredible.
What state are you in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Yeah.
East of New York City.
Okay.
Absolutely incredible what they're doing.
It's just, when we see what's going on and all the censorship happening and so on and so forth, it's becoming more and more clear, their agenda. We talked about it before. Read Agenda 2030. It's all very clearly stated in there what they want to do, and nothing's being hidden anymore. It's all in plain sight. So, we don't want any part of that. They can go live their fairy tale land wherever they want, but men and women outnumber these few people by billions.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like, and everybody's wearing a mask when you go out. It's just like, okay, like, you know, it just shows that the system that they use to program the masses is so efficient that has
Yeah.
all these people in such a fearful state. I see people in the middle of the streets, nobody around wearing masks. Like, okay, it's just they're in that complete fear state. They believe this thing is going to protect them from this invisible virus. They believe that mask is going to protect them because they were told to wear it. And it's sad to see this because, we're all mirrors of each other, and just continue sending plath, elevate their souls. It's all we can do. And hopefully that light's going to pierce through from their soul and wake them up, because there's no amount of evidence you can put in front of them that will change these people's mind. Even if you have all the proof and you can lay it up, they will not listen. They will not listen. They will just keep their masks on and listen to MSM, mainstream media, which is 100% bullcrap these days.
Well, yeah, I mean, in every age in sort of our historical memory, there's always been a minority of people that were speaking
Always.
authentically, and they've always been persecuted. But now there's, even though it's a minority, compare now to 1939, there's so much more dissidents now. Back then it was like, oh yeah, right, you lot off to war you go, and everyone went off to war, and we're like, yeah, we'll die for you, that's fine, no problem, we're ready to die. Now we try, people, even though the majority is still very mind controlled, there's a hell of a lot more people awake than,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just by what's happening in social media, like it's going in waves, but I think it's going to hit critical mass eventually, of the people waking up, and then
That'll be pretty soon.
yeah. Well, like
We're running out of time.
no, we don't run out of time. Don't say that.
it's all happening as it should. It's all as it's all happening in the way it's meant to. And the thing is, I think this common law stuff, this God's law stuff, I think there's real power in that. And many people are starting to realize that they've been tricked, to stand under this jurisdiction, which is false, based on trickery and deceit.
There's nothing honorable about the whole legal system. Nothing at all. It's all fiction, fairy tale land, and that's how they.
It all serves the state. No matter what, it serves the state.
That's it. Corporation. States are corporations. Cities are corporations. Towns are corporations. Countries are corporations. Everything's a corporation.
Well, you
The
look
Prime
at
Minister is a
look at all
corporation.
the town signs over here when you enter a town. If the sign is there, it gives you the incorporation date.
Ah, okay.
Absolutely.
It's all in plain sight. They have to give you notice. They, you know what I mean? Everything they do, they give us notice. So we just have to pay attention more, and you will see right through all the bullcrap. But it's very interesting how, for example, when people are driving or traveling in their car, and police goes behind them with the lights flashing, and what starts happening to most people, the heart starts racing a little bit, or you go into a courtroom on your court date for whatever, traffic ticket, whatever, and you go up before the judge, and the judge is sitting up higher, and people, they get nervous. Their heart rates goes up because they've allowed to understand beneath their power. And that's the problem. You know, they don't have any more power than we do. It's all fiction. And once you wake up to that, all that fear will melt away. The biggest challenge is when people are out on all on their own, when there's numbers and people stick together, there's nothing they can do. When you're on your own, it's a big problem. We've seen many people just get railroaded in court, just railroaded.
But that's the thing, like, you know what you're doing, you don't go to their courts and you serve them the right notices and you withdraw yourself from the jurisdiction, and if anything does happen, you make clear that it's being done under duress. So you never want to step foot in their courts, you know?
Yeah. Well, sometimes they drag you in.
Mm.
They come over to cuff you and they drag you in, right? So what do you do?
Yeah. If you've got to sign anything, you sign it in a certain way that shows clearly it's under duress. Yeah, of course they can coerce you. Depends on what it's for, like how bad it is. But there are plenty of examples of people resisting that through the right methods, you know. And like you say, the more momentum it builds, then the more we can start holding people to account, taking control of public buildings, all that kind of stuff, lawfully, you know.
Yeah, there was a video of an older couple somewhere in Canada that they were doing some kind of what do you call it? The protest and fasting, and the cops went into their home and took them. They arrested them, put them into a mental institute. I don't know and I haven't heard anything else what happened, but
Wow.
you know, this they're talking about you know that we're not persons, we're humans. You don't want to be saying humans. You know what the legal definition of human is? Look it up in Black.
What is it?
You don't know that? You know what the legal definition of a human is?
I've heard it's something bad, but I have not looked it up yet. What is it?
I don't know. It's a monster. Humans are monsters in Black's law, legal definition. It's crazy. If you look up the meanings of words, it's just like, is this for real? Like it's unbelievable. I used to have all the Black's laws, and my hard drive crashed. I don't have anymore. But you're just going through the meanings of some words, and you just, what the hell is this stuff? It's like,
yeah,
garbage.
The English language is very weird, isn't it? You know, you've got words like laughter, slaughter, you know, like that kind of thing. It's like, what's going on with that?
It was designed that way.
Yeah.
Laughter and slaughter? What do you mean?
I said there's many words where just adding another letter to them changes them from something really positive to something really horrible.
I don't know. Laughter and slaughter.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there are different roots, though. The roots are what matters, right? I don't know what you mean. Laughter and slaughter?
Well, what's the root of laughter and what's the root of slaughter? Look them up. And
yeah, look them up, because there's lots of little ones. There's lots of examples like that where you're like, hang on a minute, this is weird, you know. But
well, persona. I mean, the word for person. You know what that means, right? Persona.
In English.
Corporation.
It means persona means a mask to speak through.
Yeah.
Right. So it's different. It's different from human. It's different from like talking about a human. I didn't know that about human though, but that's in a legal context you're talking about.
Legal Black's Law Dictionary. It's a legal dictionary.
That's trippy. That's very trippy.
I don't remember which version, because you want to get the older versions you get, the more you're going to find really strange things in them.
Yeah, I could imagine. That's interesting.
Yeah. Like in, I think it's BC Highway Traffic Act, right, which is the act for driving an automobile. The definition for the word accident, you know what it means? It means intentional collision. So
Yeah,
you get pulled over, and after you get in a collision, cop asks you, "So what happened? It was an accident. You just admitted that it's your fault." It's crazy.
but aren't there also laws against using a common word in court wrongly? Like, can't you just say, well, wait, that you're misinterpreting the common usage of that word?
No,
You can't do that. So if the prosecutor starts throwing around the fact that you did it intentionally, you can just say, no, wait a minute, that's the common usage.
You ever been in court?
It's like act of God. It's like act of God,
You can argue it in their playground. Good luck.
Hey, you know what? I heard, you see here, Keith Richards.
Yeah.
I heard he's on MFS now. I heard he saw the light and gave up his evil ways. No, I just found this book. I found this book on the street, and my friend told me it was an awesome read. And I found this brand new copy. Talk about synchronicities.
Interesting.
But anyway, also I wanted to show you guys.
Nice black.
Black grapes. And don't
They look
even
good.
talk to me. Don't even talk to me. Black Mission figs.
Oh,
Wow.
They're so good. They're so ripe.
nice.
You got the good stuff.
I'm doing hybrid today. I did 36 hours master fast, and now I'm going to do another 24 on hybrid. So I'm feeling good. But no, I don't want to derail the conversation. I don't know how long I can stay here, but I just wanted to show you my figs.
Well, the floor is open here. We can talk about anything. We're just here supporting each other in this lifestyle, and everything that surrounds us in our life is part of our lifestyle. So everything goes. Talking about legal stuff, this stuff, that stuff, the master fasting. We keep the focus on master fasting, but everything is going to affect our life, no matter what we're doing. So it's good to have an open mind and a broad range of different things, like the whole legal thing. When I started researching this stuff way back when there was, I think it was my either late teens or early 20s, when there was a Catholic group, I think it was out of Quebec, called the Michael Journal. They had this newspaper that they printed out, and on there was an article that said the Income Tax Act in Canada is unconstitutional, and it was a big whole page thing laid out. And they were bringing these things everywhere, delivering to all kinds of people all throughout the country. And I started reading that, and it's kind of interested me because it made a lot of sense what they were saying in there. And that's when I started looking more and more into this stuff. And back then, talking about this stuff, people, they were in complete fear state. Oh, you don't pay your tax, you're going to go to jail, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, this with the whole income tax act is a whole fraud in itself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything they do is fraud. It's fraudulent. The only way they get away with it is most people accept it, and they have the guns to back it up. But otherwise,
They have our tacit consent, period.
yep.
Absolutely.
When you go vote, you consent and agree to whoever gets nominated is going to be your leader for and rule over you. So that's another thing over here. I don't know in the U.S., but there's an option here where you can choose none of the above. Because if you don't go vote, it's tacit consent in their eyes that you agree by not voting, whether you vote or not, don't vote. So the only way to go do none of the above is you have to actually go in and they hand you the ballot and then you hand it back and you say refuse ballot. That legally stands for none of the above here. So I've been doing that for about 10 years since we found out about it.
I don't think we have that option here.
You look it up, there's got to be something. There's got to be something.
I'm trying to recall if the pick what.
If there's nothing like that, you have to.
I think the national elections are paper ballot. The local elections are electronic.
Okay, but let's say if you don't have that legal option, that in that sense, you're gonna have to make your own. You have to put them on notice, saying I don't consent and agree to any of you guys. You know, officially registered mail, mailing it something. You know, I mean, there's always a way, because they cannot take away your inalienable rights. The government's supposed to stand and protect your inalienable rights. That's their purpose, not frickin' rule over you.
Well, if you want to express something along those lines, like in the United States, you can vote for like Greenpeace Party or the Green Party or some obscure party that, you know, at least you're voting, but you're voting for like someone you absolutely know is not going to win.
Yeah, but
You know.
John, what I'm saying is, if you go and vote and whoever wins, that means you consent and agree to whoever gets nominated.
Oh yeah, so it's like it's yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's so I for none of the above.
Yeah, I spoil my ballot if I'm going to do it.
Well, the other thing is like you can always if you don't go and vote, you can just protest the system, you know, in any way you choose. There are plenty of ways to express the fact that the system is just shite.
But Gino's correct. If you just don't vote, you're still giving your tacit consent to whoever becomes in office.
Your silence in law is tacit consent, meaning you agree through your silence.
Yeah. It's like you're between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, they make it
designed that way.
Yeah, and they make it difficult and challenging so that most people will comply to their bullcrap. That's all it is.
Yeah, well, they also, like in the Deep South, when you have the black vote, like they block roads, they do all sorts of crazy shit so that people can't even get to the polling place. You know, it's just like, I mean, the United States, the voting process is compromised from every angle you look at, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have the freaking gall to send our monitors to other countries.
I know, it's pretty bad.
I mean, it's almost embarrassing to be a freaking U.S. citizen today. It is embarrassing.
Well, it's like, you know, the classic Police song, you know, Sting, British rock band, you know, the song starts off, it's like, there is no political solution. We're just spirits in a material world. There's no political solution. I mean, that's pretty obvious, you know.
It's the system with the system.
The system is go within.
Yeah.
And,
their days are numbered, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm reading this. Do you guys ever read The Impersonal Life by Joseph Benner? You ever heard of that book? It's like it's one of these channeled books that it's about like Christic consciousness, like Christ consciousness, and like absolutely no fear. And you know, I'm starting to like have kind of a spiritual revolution. Like it's like I'm Joe Buddhist, but like lately I've been like preferring the idea of creation and creator, and kind of being drawn to that. And I started reading this very deep book called The Impersonal Life, and you can get it for free. He wrote other books too about like real Christianity, like, you know, like esoteric Christianity. And it's kind of difficult to read, but it's really profound. It was written in 1914. And it's like a channeled book, and he writes anonymously, and you can get it for free on a PDF, but he wrote a bunch of other books too. But my point is that that's all you can do. You can just live with absolutely no fear, you know, and not let like negative thought like enter into your mind, you know.
Yeah, well,
It's like, you know, you have to, like, it's like this, it's like you can go out into the world, and like just today, like at the grocery store, I was buying my fruit, and like these people were just fighting and cursing at each other. And then this other guy jumped in, and he was telling them to shut up, like in a really horrible way. And it's just like, you can either go out into the world and encourage people, or you can go and like, you know, get snarky and like get involved with it. You know, there's only one choice, you know. So I'm really trying to manifest, you know, Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness or whatever.
yeah, well, you know, think about what's been happening the last several months, man. Most people are under stress. You know, with this whole lockdown thing and you know, being muzzled and all that stuff, it's going to have a psychological effect on everyone.
Yeah, man.
You know, if you're eating 7 days a week, man, it ain't going to be fun, right? Because we all know what food does. So
Yeah.
the key is to continue living the fasting lifestyle and being able to see through all the crap that's going on around there, because it's all over, and we can choose to ignore it, or we can choose to elevate and feed and nourish all the people that we see that are choosing to be in these imbalanced states. And we don't have to do it physically, we can do it through the soul, because that is much more powerful than anything in the material world anyway. So there's many things we can do, like you know, we mentioned before about they've done tests with the meditators in high crime rate cities, and the crime rates went down just by so many people meditating, nothing else, just meditating. So what's that? It's in the fields. You know, now all the things in material world that they've done to try and lower crime rate, hire more police or this or that, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So,
But there's also, I fully agree, but there's also like proactive, where you go out there and you actually verbally encourage people and say, hey man, how you doing? You know, don't worry about it. This shit's gonna pass. You know, because whether or not you really believe that, it's like to proactively encourage people when you're out in public and to be a peacemaker, you know, it makes, I feel stronger when I do that as well, you know.
Yeah, well, you're feeding them in that sense, but you know, let me give you an example. When you go to like a motivational type of seminar and all rah rah yeah pumped up, and then you go home and then you know you stay charged for a certain time and then you come down.
Yeah.
It could be a
Yeah.
day, weeks, or
Like,
even be a month, and then you're back to where you were. So that stuff, this is what I'm saying, the material thing, yeah, it's going to help, John, for sure, what you're saying 100%. But that would have to be maintained continuously. When you start working with the fields, with the soul, and you work on that end, that's way, 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 way more powerful. You're converting the communication between the soul and the physicality, and that is a much more permanent change and a much more powerful change in what we're going to see here in this matter state, is from my understanding anyway. It's much more powerful. Like we can do it all. We can do the material things, we can do the soul things and everything else. The more the merrier. But working through the fields, there's absolutely no comparison. Just like what we've been witnessing, people master fasting versus doing their Ra's law and stuff and fruit diets and so on and so forth. You can't even compare. What the difference is, it's night and day, and we've only just scratched the surface of a little understanding that we've gained. We just started 5 years, and we've seen so much. But there's going to be much more coming through. In the next few years, with everything that's going on now, and with the state of the minds of men and women in general right now, like this, the stress rates, you can see it. Being muzzled is not a fun thing, a fun state to be in. It's just a very strange feeling I get talking to people with these masks. It's very strange.
There was a study I just saw. It's 25% of the 18 to 24-year-olds contemplated suicide during this COVID shit.
Yeah, it's probably higher.
It's just through the study just showed that's 20. It's pretty high. That's a high number by itself.
The suicide rates skyrocketed in these last several months. Skyrocketed.
They're talking just a certain demographic.
Yeah, I mean, there was already so much imbalance and depression and despair before, even in the affluent West, where we've been, really kind of sheltered from what's been done in other parts of the world. But there's been so much disillusionment and high suicide rate anyway amongst young men and stuff like that, let alone with this,
Yeah, there's certain age bracket has, in men mostly, has a really high suicide rate compared to women, way higher, I believe, than women. It's sad, the feminization of men that's been happening for many decades now.
But that's just crazy.
All by design, all this stuff.
That's insane.
Through programming, through chemicals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just face the reality or don't face it. Call you racist or whatever the hell for talking about stuff like that. Hey man, there's two genders that creator made. It's simple, and it could not continue to, propagate without these two genders. It cannot continue. Simple. So whatever is whatever. People can do whatever they like. You're either in line with creation or you're not. That's the way I see it. I can't.
No, I agree with you. Like what's being done now is really kind of abominable, But I'm also aware that there were other ways in terms of not taking away from the fact that you are either male or female and you're here to, you procreate and create children. That's what it's all about. But I understand that some First People, like Native American tribes, had more categorization than that in terms of,
I know.
I can't quite remember what the detail was, but it was like slightly different vibes within that. But still, like there would be a guy who'd have children and he'd be a husband, but he'd have an identity that was more nuanced than it was a different categorization to another guy. It's quite interesting. So it wasn't like gender fluidity in the way that this twisted New World Order thing conditioning is, but it was something a bit more nuanced, but not taking away anything from being a husband or a wife, or it's interesting.
Yeah, I remember reading that article. It had several genders. I can't remember. Something like 18, 19 or something, or different.
Really, that many? Didn't know it was that many.
It was high. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But yeah, I know which one you're referring to. It was high. Maybe it was less than that. I don't know, more. But we don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Well,
the
all I
other
know is
thing,
that this is twisted at the moment. Like, you know, all the conditioning and this crazy political correctness gone mad. And, you know, you go to a meeting and you've got to say before, you know, what your preferred pronoun is. You know, I went to this meeting, it was about getting people of color back on the land. It was at this farm earlier in the year. And there's some good activism stuff going on there. You know, people connecting with nature, connecting with the land, people from ethnic minorities who have been generally herded into cities when they immigrated to these to the UK and US and that kind of thing. But you know, anytime you go to that kind of thing now, you have to say it's very politically correct. So you have to say what's your preferred pronoun? Is it he, she, or him or her kind of thing? And I thought that was. I mean, I suppose in a
I
way
don't
it's fair
do
enough.
that.
It felt pretty weird.
I don't say that at all. I hate that, man.
Yeah.
It's like
It's the way
it's
the way they're so uppity about it as well. It's like it's not chilled. It's really quite aggressive. You know?
not chill, and it's like you know, somebody demands that you call them they. It's like, look, man, I studied English literature. I'm not calling them they. You know, it's like I'll call them by their name. What's their name? Oh, their name is George. Okay, I'll call them George, but I'm not calling them they.
Be like, her name is George.
They just corrupted everyone. You know, we're going back to the native Indians with all these genders and so on. This was at a time where they didn't have all the chemicals and everything to influence all this stuff. It's a whole completely different thing than what's happening now.
It's the food. All that shit's in the food.
Yeah, of course. Food, air, water, they put it everywhere.
And the Disney, it's watching Disney and stuff like that. It's getting all like weird images ingrained in your subconscious, like pornographic imagery. You know,
Yeah.
it's all of that.
Yeah.
Luckily, it all comes out when you fast.
It's full.
Yeah.
Disney movies are all full. Those children's movies, it's full of it.
Yeah, like I was referring to myself. I'm with my a friend of mine who's 15 years old. He's a really nice kid. He's super smart, but his mother is a lesbian, and I'll just tell you the story real quick. She went to get her sperm from the sperm bank, and she had a set of twins. Then 6 years later, she decided she wanted more kids. So she went back to the same sperm bank, and they requested that get the same donor. And they said, well, sorry, we don't have the gear for that donor. However, we know a family who might still have it. And they called the family, and the family sold it back to the sperm donor bank, and it was frozen. They sold it back, and then she bought it, and then she had a second set of twins with the same donor. So anyway, that story just blows my mind. But anyway, so the kid is this lovely kid. He's like 15, and I was hanging out with him, and I was referring to myself as a retard, right? So he said, John, don't say that. Don't use that word. And I was like, no, man, but I'm referring to myself. and he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't use that word. And I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry, buddy, but I can use that word if I want. I'm referring to myself. I'm not slandering another person. And he was you wouldn't believe how upset he was. Like, you know, and like I live in Berkeley, California, which is like the birthplace of the free speech movement. You know, it's a historical place. And like,
Not anymore.
and yeah, I know, not anymore. It's the opposite, actually. And like, yeah, it's like I live in Berkeley, man. I can say what I please, you know.
Interesting
I
time.
hate all that stuff, man. You can't refer to yourself as a retard, you know, just like in a joking fashion.
Yeah, everybody's too sensitive for anything anymore. You can't say anything. And then if you don't say anything, it's even worse.
Like you're twiddling your thumbs.
How are these people ever gonna live a life?
I don't know.
You know?
Maybe they're gonna take a massive dose of magic mushrooms,
Yeah.
and it will all change.
That would be the suggestion for sure. Yeah, get people on magic plants, man. It's like
It's a quick fix.
you know what? Like in Oakland, California, which is the town right next to Berkeley, where I live, they legalized psilocybin mushrooms and ayahuasca.
Oh, really?
So like, yeah, it's the city of Oakland. So it's not a Schedule 1 substance anymore. It's like Schedule 3 or whatever however they do it.
Interesting. Yeah, there's been.
And yet weed is still Schedule 1, right?
Yeah, the East Coast is kind of behind, but I heard New Jersey's going to legalize weed pretty soon.
But they're not changing the designation of it. It's still Schedule 1.
A plant.
So, well, what's the distinction? You mean like but you can't get arrested. You won't get arrested.
Yeah,
Right?
but they're only limited. They're limiting quantities and all that crap. It's more for the medical freaking field anyway, because they're so afraid of the plant. The plant's got such a medicinal value to it, we'll put them out of business. That's why it stayed Schedule 1 for decades.
Yeah.
But I thought Schedule 1 was like when you can be criminally prosecuted.
Really, federally. This is only the only designations are at the state level, not the federal level.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so technically, like in California, technically the feds can come and shut down.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they can shut down a pot farm or something in California, technically, but it's like, it's off the hook now. It's like pot farming is taking up about half the state's water supply right now. You know? I mean, there are water wars in Northern California that are like over pot farms.
Colorado's just about shot the river.
We
Yeah.
got lots of water up here.
From what I'm understanding, the whole Southwest is setting up for a replay of the Dust Bowl, the way everything's falling into place.
Yeah, man, we've had some droughts too. And the droughts that we get in California go all the way to like Colombia, like
You never
northern
really came
Colombia.
out of the drought, even though you got the rain. That was just a temporary band-aid. You still in drought.
Well, yeah. Two seasons ago, we had a shitload of water. Last year was dismal.
Yeah, it was just a band-aid. I mean, it didn't replenish really.
That reminds me, I want to look into this thing called the Water Freedom System. Apparently, you can make it for under $200, and it can generate 60 liters of water per day from the air, even in a desert. So I want to look into that because I think being independent, water-wise, would be really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many ways you can do it. We've been doing that stuff for a long time, pulling water from the air.
Uh-huh.
There's even ancient methods that people have used. You could look that up. Simple, just putting like plastic kind of sheets kind of underground thing, and it builds up dew and it drips down. I've seen so many different ways. Water is a precious thing, and it's the most abundant thing on this planet next to air.
Yeah, and they want to control it like everything else. Charge you for it. Take you to court for collecting it. Rainwater.
Canada has 1/5 of all the fresh water on the planet. It's huge amounts of fresh water. You start driving, anywhere, lakes and rivers and all over the place. Tons and tons of fresh water. Incredible.
Canada, you're talking about Canada.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
land known as Canada.
Yeah. Well, Lake Superior is like, it's like the bloody ocean, right?
Yeah, the 5 lakes. Right?
Awesome. That's the thing, I mean, the United States has coastal, plenty of coastline on the Great Lakes, but I wonder if like what the water laws, like, does the United States pilfer water from Canada? I wonder how that works.
I think they do. I remember in Sudbury, we used to go up there when we were young, camping in Indian Reserve, Perry Sound, and then never went there for a while, and then we went back, and the lake up there, the level was way lower, and everybody was complaining about how much lower you're talking about a few feet. That's a lot of water. And then they were saying that was going down to the U.S.
Which lake?
I don't know which lake it was. It's in Perry Sound, so whatever lake that is up there.
Yeah, I want to go up there. I've never been to the Midwest. I just like drove through once real quick.
There's
I've
beauty.
never been out there either.
What?
I've never been out to the Midwest. I've been through it, but not to visit. I drove through it once.
There's beauty.
Yeah, I want to go up. I want to go to like Minnesota and places like that. I got to get out of California, man. I'm just like
Get out of California.
burned out on this place.
Anybody can live there anymore. It used to be such a paradise.
It's still a paradise,
Yeah.
like when you go out to the mountains, but it's just like living in the cities. It's like,
All
man,
the cities now. Look what's happened to New York City with this idiot governor they have, or mayor. Both, actually. They're fleeing so quick. They're in such deep shit, New York City, because they have driven out so many high net worth people. And I guess your governor just did the same thing, didn't he, in California? Or your legislature with their wealth tax, first in the nation?
I don't know what's going on, man. I don't, it's like I get most of my news from you guys.
Well, your state just instituted the first ever wealth tax, so say goodbye to a lot more of your high net worth people. Trouble is, they go to places like Texas and they bring their idiotic politics with them, and then they pollute other states.
Well, when you say high net worth people, what do you mean? You mean like super wealthy people?
Yeah, millionaires, the ones that pay the taxes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got plenty of them.
You're gonna have a lot less.
I just want to move to like Montana, or like, a place where people are
Probably
pretty
one of the
normal.
best areas of the country right now, politically and just for freedom.
Yeah,
It's
I want to live
area, parts of Washington, but not the coast, because that's all bullshit. But you get to the western side, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, western Montana, western Washington.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a
It's
term.
referred to as the American Redoubt.
What?
It's referred to as the American Redoubt.
Yeah, it's like a term they use. It's like when the shit hits the fan, it's the best place to be. Yeah, like I know it's parts of states.
Yes.
I don't think like one full state is in that territory. Yeah, that's really interesting to me.
Even there, your cities are so polluted with the liberalism that the out, you know, the real far out, far left bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to live more like moderately, like in a political place that's more moderate.
I don't
You
think
know.
there's any left in the country, John.
Create our own
It's
country.
got it.
We create our own country.
We will.
So here, what's happening?
Yeah, so I've done 3.5 days of full master fast just at the start of the week, and then broke it, but struggled a bit with sort of cravings and food and energy levels as well. I feel like it spun me out a bit energy wise. I mean, I broke it because it was getting a bit hairy, and yeah, I know I do need to be challenging myself. At the same time, I've also got a very busy schedule in the next 2.5 weeks. I'm making a short film. It's really, really busy. And so I kind of broke it thinking, all right, well, if I slow it down, I'll be able to, you know, get on with things, because I really didn't feel like doing any work. I felt really like I just want to chill, you know. If I had the luxury just to chill and relax, then I wouldn't have broken it. It would have just been like, no, yeah, this is a bit gnarly, but I'll just stick with it. But then after breaking it, ended up just going into a bit of a cycle of kind of eating too dense and also just being fatigued, like feeling fatigued, and then if not eating, feeling that detoxy feeling. Yeah, so it's just one of those weeks basically where it's been I know it's all about balance in the long run, but it's just obviously challenging when you're trying to deal with a situation and be busy at the same time, you know.
How's the hernia?
So the good news is that compared to how it was when we spoke initially, back then it was actually disabling, because it was like big swelling on the right hand side of the scrotum groin, and then that's causing some kind of reciprocal swelling on the left in like the testes kind of tissue, whatever, all like really horribly swollen up. So it would be like walking down the street would become really uncomfortable, to the point where it's like, I don't want to walk down the street, I want to go home and lie down. So the good news is that since then, and that was a few weeks ago, wasn't it? I am no longer, you know, I can get on with what I need to. I can walk around, I can rebound, do things. It's not stopping me from doing anything moderate, but it is still big. It's a big swelling that's there, but I am encouraged by the fact that it's got better from what it was a few weeks ago. So I'm encouraged by that.
Yeah, pulled out some of the inflammation, and that's you know, starting to correct itself. But yeah, you know what to do.
Yeah, I know what to do. I mean, the fact that it's got a bit better and that I can be busy and do things is good. And it's also taken the pressure off. So I'm no longer thinking about surgery at all. I'm thinking about, you know, just the long term. And I don't think there's so the issue, I don't have an issue committing in the long term in my mind. But it's just in this short term period, being busy with this project in the next 2-3 weeks, it's kind of that delicate balance. And it's because I've got this swelling in the abdomen, like ascites, they call it. It's edema. It's obvious as well. It looks like, because I'm skinny, but I've got this swelling, which looks like a kind of unusual beer belly. And like people have commented, you know, people are noticing it. And it's kind of like, yeah, so it's just a bit of a challenging time emotionally, because, you know, people can see there's something wrong, you know, and I'm still busy doing this project, but yeah, so it's just one of those things, you know. I mean, I know what to do. It's just a challenging time, emotionally, being busy out and about, people seeing you and noticing this thing, looking at your stomach and being like, oh, what's wrong with him, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sad, but this is the society we live in. You get judged all the time, and it is what it is.
I mean, even if it's not judged, it's sort of concern, you know. Like, I don't want to talk about my private health with people so much, like, because I'm just sick of all the fear and all the bullshit. People don't know what they're talking about, and yeah, it's that kind of, yeah, like having to talk about it because people are asking you, and friends, you know, I'm talking about friends basically. So I mean, I'm lucky at the moment. I'm in Bristol, and my mum and dad are in London. Um, my mum and dad would be freaking out if I was with them, and they could see that my belly's all swollen up. They'd be freaking out. Yeah. So I'm just gonna crack on with this busy project, get this film finished, do as much master fasting as I can while I'm doing that, and yeah, it's just this edema is quite stubborn. The good news is as well though that this last master fast, short fast I did, was the first one in ages, the first one in like months where there was no diarrhea, there was no everything settled down, so there's no diarrhea at all. Because I was getting everyone I was doing, I was getting this diarrhea, and it was making it horrible. I've got a Kalima board now, which helps.
Nice.
So the Kalima board seems like really help. I'm doing like Kalimas with baking soda. So yeah, I know what to do. It's just yeah, it's just short term. You
Yeah,
know, I just can't wait for this edema to go away, so that, because even though I've got the hernia, people can't see that, and as long as it's not stopping me doing what I need to do, it's just this visible thing that people can see is irritating me. You know.
yeah. When you look at people where their skeletal structure completely from being in a imbalanced state and crooked and all that completely straightens out. These are bone structures, so you can think about if the bones can do that, why can't the tissues do that? Of course they can. Everything can do it. Everything can restructure itself. Everything can go back to blueprint. You just have to allow it to happen. You know, so when you start seeing changes towards more going towards balance, your belief system gets strengthened, right? When you're experiencing it. But listening to other people should be encouraging too. We got a lot of people are looking for something that somebody has exactly like them. Did they cure this? This is where you don't need to find anybody that has exactly what you have, because you never will. All you have to understand is this new understanding that we have. And there's a perfect blueprint. Just access it and don't worry about it. Don't have to think about it. Don't have to know how it works. Just allow it
Yeah.
to, and just embrace it, and that's it. And we can go at whatever level we choose to go. How fast we want to go. How slow we want to go.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
Did you find was there a period of time in your life where, on the fasting journey, where your strength for a long period of time was much lower? Because I noticed that my strength has really been affected since I did the long one. And yeah, of course, I know the theory and I know what I need to do about bringing balance, etc. But I'm just interested because
absolutely.
that's something my dad's commented on about my upper body being more wasted compared to what it was, and so.
Well, you got to look at, we're running on stimulus versus running on what we're supposed to be running on. There's a big difference. Like just look at the weightlifting world and world records set and so on and so forth. These guys are doing heavy steroids and stuff like that, and look at the feats they're able to do. you're not going to be able to do those feats naturally. It's not going to happen. But what everything they're doing is at a cost. These guys, they're dropping dead from, you know, early ages and so on and so forth. Their health is horrific, but you know, the gains of strength and stuff, that is just incredible of what some of these guys can do. So you have to choose. Do you want to be stimulated, or do you want to tap into Pilaf? Your strength, your physical strength, when you start truly detoxifying, you know, all your weaknesses are going to come to the surface, including a body that's been stimulated will get very, 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 very weak because it's been innervated through all the stimulations. So how long is that going to take to correct itself? As long as it takes. And you know, it is what it is. I went through years of weakness, years. And I was, you know, what I was doing, learning this stuff, you know, we understand now, you know, people will be able to find their balance much quicker than I ever did through all the years that I was doing my stuff, because
Yeah.
of tools we have now. But you know, still, you know, as we say, 9 years is a good start. But you know, 1 or 2 years is basically getting your feet wet, and you're gonna and people have seen incredible results in 1 or 2 years. But you're just getting your feet wet in this lifestyle, and we don't have to worry about how long. You just have to accept that the transformation is taking place as long as we're living the lifestyle. And, you know, slowly but surely, the strength is going to come back. It will.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
I'm with you. It makes sense. It feels. I know it. I know it's just time and discipline and consistency. You know.
you're doing any exercises?
Yeah. So I'm doing the rebounding with my feet on the canvas, and that's my main one. I'm going to start doing some yoga as well, and a bit of boxing, a bag, just throwing some light punches. I've got a boxing reflex ball where you know, it's like a ball thing on a string, which they use for, it's quite fun as well. And that is actually quite a good little workout. So kind of like they use it as a warm up,
Yeah,
but it's a good workout.
awesome.
So
Continue. Don't stop physical things. Continue with them, and that's going to help build strength. Like what builds strength? Is it the food? No, it's actually working the muscle. That's what's going to build strength. But like
yeah,
when we've been stimulated for so long, and then we remove all those stimulations, we just lose tons and tons of strength. And
yeah.
to you know, get that nervous system back into that balanced state, and then so the muscles can start gaining the strength and so on and so forth. It's going to take what it takes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm inspired when I watch Eliton doing all his press ups, you know, and how good, how strong he is.
And nothing.
So I've got no doubts, you know, when I see Eliton do his press ups.
Hey, you guys. Yeah, Tom's awesome. Hey, I got to go. I'm going to go look at a pickup truck.
All right, John. Good luck.
I need it. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great
Take
week.
care,
All
bro.
right?
Take care, John. Nice to see you.
Yeah, hey, Zahir, make sure you come back next week.
I will try. Yeah, it's late for me. It's like 1 a.m. But yeah, I'll try.
Oh, yeah.
It's late.
Okay, well, eat your Wheaties then.
Take my stimulants.
I'll catch you later.
There's look up in the herb world about which herbs will help with strength as well. You know, wild greens in general can assist, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's going to be moving the obstructions out, so the body can restore that balance, and physically working the muscles, and
Yeah.
having that mental state of knowing who you are. You know, like, where does strength come from? It comes from intent and emotion.
Mm.
That's where it comes from. You see these guys that are doing these world record things. Look how much focus they have, you know, for when they're doing a lift or whatever. It's all intent and emotion. Yeah, you got to do the physical work, but it's all goes back to intent and emotion. It all starts from there. That's where
Yeah.
it's from. You can eat there, whatever, you know, and the food is going to have something to do with it. If it's stimulating, it's going to be that way. If it's obstructive, it's going to be that way. So we want to find a balance where the food that we choose to eat is not obstructive, and it's you know, the least obstructive as possibly can, and at the same time the body is continuously moving out obstructions. We don't want to go back to being stimulated and obstructed again, because we know where that gets us. Just look around. Everybody's wearing masks. That's where it gets us. That kind of state of mentality and belief system. That
Yeah.
everything around you is dangerous, and you're going to catch the boogeyman and get sick. So, you know, it's insanity.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, it's just a question of you know, transitioning and the balance in terms of, you know, if you get very weakened and you've got stuff to do, it's hard, and it's finding that transition, isn't it? So kind of, I guess it takes time, and it's what it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
when I was bedridden, after I was bedridden for quite a few years, I wasn't doing much exercise and stuff, and it was a while before I started getting my strength back. You know, I eventually started. I went back to the gym and so on and so forth, and slowly but surely, you know, things started coming around. But it took time. It took time. But like I said, with the knowledge we have now, I know we can do it quicker than what I did, for sure, no doubt. We've
yeah,
seen,
yeah,
seen people do it. So
yeah. No, for sure.
all is well. Just um, you know, try and get into some more of the wild greens.
Yeah, I've been chewing wheatgrass. I'm chewing
Yeah,
chewing the wheatgrass a fair bit. And that's the other thing. It's the dental stuff I've got going on. I mean, I kind of don't really want to see a dentist. I don't want to have drills. I kind of want to see what's possible without having teeth drilled into and extracted and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to slow down, stop, and then reverse what's going on. It does seem like it's slowed down significantly
yeah. As soon as
since.
you know, moving out those obstructions, which are causing inflammation, your teeth are going to feel better. It's automatic. You know, the first signal you're having problems with teeth, the GI tracts is saying stop, stop, and that's why you're getting those feelings. They're connected to the whole body, and teeth, anything with teeth, it's very, very tough and challenging to go through teeth issues, you know, especially when you see them start to deteriorate, and people will blame the fruit, and they'll blame this, and they'll blame their mother, but they're never going to face the mirror and say, why are my teeth falling apart when I'm eating fruit, for example, or whatever? Start to eat
Yeah,
fruit. Nothing to do with the fruit, you know. I had the grape juice. You know, people, you know, you got to drink it with a straw. Okay, I swish it in my mouth. I don't have those
yeah,
issues. I had issues with my teeth with fat, not with freaking fruit sugars.
yeah. Yeah,
If you're
people are detoxing. It's all
yeah,
deep, you know, detox symptoms for the mouth, isn't it?
Yeah, if we're having any challenges when we start clearing out, specifically like on massive fasting, when people eating fruit, they start having challenges. You got to look at the underlying issues, the terrain.
Yeah.
It's, genetics and this and that all have a play in it. But what condition is the terrain in? Emotions as well. The emotions stable and so on and so forth. We're always going back to the same basic stuff: GI tract, the physicality, where everything stems from that. And when we start cleaning up, sometimes it's not going to be fun for some people, and it's scary. I've seen in all these years, I've seen like a few people that looked like they were tanks, built like a tank, and then they started detoxifying, and they shriveled up to like nothing, and completely their bodies completely just changed because no more stimulants in the physical body. And and then they would blame it on the food. Meanwhile, you're coming from stimulants. It's two different worlds.
Yeah, people don't want to commit to that long-term change, and they're looking for a quick fix. So if they were going to transition, they're like, oh, but it should be quicker. There should be a way of doing it. I mean, one of the guys who was living here, he'd had a similar thing, in that he'd started off a healing journey and then was basically on and off bedridden for 10 or 15 years, but hadn't found the way through that. I don't know what approaches he was using, but then in the end, found his way, which is not the one of the transition we're talking about. It's one of returning back to, eating stimulating foods and that kind of thing, but doing a lot of energy work. So that's kind of worked for him, and that he's living the life he wants to. He's done a lot of Reiki and that kind of thing. Fine, that works for him. It works in that he's functional and strong, and on doing a spiritual path, but at the same time he's got lots of different ailments, the standard ailments of modern society: dental, ache, pains, whatnot, inflammatory ailments that everyone gets when they're living this the inflammatory lifestyle. But for him that's worked because he never found a way to go through that fatigue time and really clean out and balance in the way that we're talking about.
Yeah, we know what stimulants do, and like for example, a lot of people who went to vegetarianism or veganism and deteriorated through just changing the diet like that, and they go back to meat, and they gain all their weight back and this and that and everything. And they say, oh, see, I couldn't, live a vegan lifestyle, this and that. And because stimulants brought them back to what they believe is the way they're supposed to be. But
yeah,
it's nothing to do with health. Nothing to do with health at all.
No, it's interesting. I know a few people that they look really well at the moment on their sort of meat diet, but I guess it's temporary, isn't it? It's kind of like you can look like you're thriving for a while, but you're kind of, how long is that going to last?
It's at a cost always. So, if we look back in history, I look in my family. I have a great aunt who turned 102. A great uncle who's 97. We have a few, maybe two, three. I know maybe three centurions that were in my family. So when they were growing up, they were not eating meat every day in those times. And in those times, they were, the chemical laden agriculture was, just probably starting at those times. So they're just growing naturally and so on and so forth. So they had much less obstructions growing up than we had. in our life, and so on and so forth. So there's many things to look at. And these people, they live long lives, but are they free of pain and suffering? Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. Even though they have long lives, they're not free from pain and suffering. So, um, being in a body that has no aches and pains is
Yeah,
is pretty amazing, especially when you've lived a life with full of aches and pains and being in misery. It's
yeah. It's beautiful to be able to live with no aches and pains. People think that aches and pains are normal. Like, as if it's normal to be in pain all the time, you know. And what, just on vegetarians, dairy, what kind of, that's crazy. I mean, that's so stimulating, right? That's like taking drugs. Like if you have some dairy, that feeling. I I was very addicted to that feeling of feeling, yeah, it's like a kind of, it's a drug, a heroin sort of vibe. Sedate, really sedated, really kind of mellow, and also a bit stimulated. But yeah, I haven't touched any dairy for ages now.
yeah, it's interesting. Um, we don't have all the answers, but we can see the differences in what's been happening with the different diets and so on and so forth. Um, and you know, being in pain, I know on myself, if I start going heavier on proteins and fats, you can feel the pains way more. So um, it's when your body becomes cleaned out, it's more sensitive to everything that you put into it, and that's a good thing. Some people think it's not a good thing, but the sensors are there so you can sense things, right? They're signals. When you're in all numbed out state, you don't feel anything until you know you're in a severe state, and
Yeah,
it's almost too late for you. But yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. But
so, so my family is from India, from Gujarat, in terms of ethnic lineage, and I was just been reading this book about famines in India back in the 19th century, and in Gujarat there was some big famine at the end of the 19th century, but before that, for I don't know how many hundreds of years, but dairy was one of their staples.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
But
that
what
was a
were
real
they eating? They
staple.
weren't eating pasteurized. They were eating raw.
Mm.
Different game.
But
Complete.
raw still is crazy because I tried I've got this little piece of land out in the Canary Islands in La Palma where they've got the most amazing quality raw goat's cheese, mature, so it's been, if you're gonna have dairy, then you would have thought that's it. But after having done master fasting, having that, I've really, really, really felt it. I had too much of it. This was, part of the reason why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing now, I think, because I was going to La Palma fairly often, and I was a real sucker for this stuff. And because it was raw, I was thinking, oh, maybe it's okay. But it's like, no, it's not okay. It's really strong and messed me up big time. But yeah, addictive.
Well, there's people that claim they drink raw milk and they heal everything up. So there's something to it. It's in that state versus pasteurized state for sure. If you're going to have any of that stuff, that would be the way to consume it, not pasteurized, because pasteurization for that, um, it's it's not a good thing. Barbara, you have your hand up. You want to say something? Barbara, can you hear us? Okay, well,
Now I'm unmuted. Yeah, I just had the most amazing time going to Yosemite, and I got to see how when when you're in nature that's so beautiful, it's so makes you want to get stronger and live longer. And I was really touched. I was really surprised by seeing how powerful nature can be, to heal us and strengthen us. I have that to share.
Yeah, being in nature is always positive.
Yeah.
It's our connection, and
Hmm.
everybody feels better when they're out in the nature. Everybody, unless you're in a really imbalanced state, and yeah, I think even though you're in that situation, a little sunshine is going to help.
Hmm.
Everybody's smiling more when there's sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also seeing, I'm seeing the magic of Rolfing massage, where it can
Mhm.
bring you back to past trauma and all to help you heal it. That's
Yeah,
something that I've been experiencing.
yeah. There's lots of tools that are out there, and so many different techniques and so on and so forth from around the globe, from
Hmm.
different cultures and so on and so forth that came from many hundreds or thousands of years, and they can assist us for sure, especially when you're fasting. These things are
Yes.
um, even better. But
And
yeah,
also right now I'm getting to work with women around the world. I don't know if you guys heard of Looming, but it's the idea of creating a gifting economy rather than people working jobs that they don't like, they don't believe in, that's killing them just to keep a roof over their head. So that's something that I've come across that also is very positive. And
say gifting what?
gifting economy,
Oh, gifting.
economy, yeah, that's built on gifting to each other, caring about each other.
Right.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I'm watching that in action. So that's so I'm seeing some very good things, But I just so appreciate I appreciate you and the work that you do, and I'm glad that you created this Zoom connection for everybody. Thank you.
Um, the whole monetary system, the true value of money is us. That's
Hmm.
the paper stuff. It's our working hour, whatever you want to call it, our creativity. That's all the value. The people are the value. Without us, there's nothing.
Hmm.
So uh, we can create a system easily by putting that value through, the people, the power of the people, versus a debt system,
Hmm.
which is absolutely ridiculous. And all this inflation, deflation crap, whoever made this stuff up, is just, just look at, if you just look at one basic thing, for example, houses here, the average house in Toronto area now is 900 or $1,000,000, depending what area. Some areas more.
Hmm.
You just go back 10 years ago, the average was maybe 300,000. So what happened? Well, we can simply say is the value of our money went down a lot.
Hmm.
Why
They're
does it?
saying there's enough wood in, I think it was Russia, and enough stone in West Virginia, something like that, that, everyone in the world can, live comfortably if we start creating a gifting economy. And this was women from Canada went to Africa and found this tribe where the women would get together and one woman would be the center focus, and the community would be trying to help all her needs and all her dreams come true as best as they could as a community. And then they would go to another woman. So the women from Canada were really impressed with how that works. I think it's actually part of Kwanzaa when they talk about creating a new economy. So I'm watching this going on with women around the world right now, where they're being embodying the four elements of fire, wind, earth, and water, And it's like a mandala where in the center there's the water woman, and her whole job is just to open up and just receive, and around her are two earth women, and their job is to keep this going. And then there's four air people, and their job is to like be the air, open up your throat chakra, talk to people, blow, communicate. And the fire women, where there should be 8, they come in with a gift to the person in the center when you have, and their job is to burn away everything that's standing in their way, their lack of belief that they can have their dreams happen, that they can change the world. It's very, very beautiful when you have the 8 women. It's like a cell that splits in 2, and then you get 2 new water women, and then the person who's been the water woman, she can just leave or she can come back. But I'm watching these women. Raina might really like this, because 3 of them are in Egypt creating centers for women, birthing centers, and also dying centers. And their focus is there. And one of the women who's doing that, she was a Holocaust survivor child. So I'm glad, that I know I can share some beautiful things. And I think that's a gift that I had in my life. When I was pregnant, I got to be with Dr. Leboyer, who wrote Birth Without Violence. I got to read Arnold Ehret's book. In Toastmasters, I've had people who are international winners as far as speaking goes mentor me. So I still have a long way to go, but I'm excited about what we can do together in the future, especially as we get our health together, especially as we clear our bodies and our minds and communicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. There's also Michael Tellinger from South Africa. I believe he's got some really good ideas. The new economy and so on and so forth. This whole money thing is just entrapment. Yeah, it's a exchange of energy, but it's a debt system, and debt system.
Michael Cullinger, C-U-L.
Tellinger.
Tellinger,
He isn't Tom. Tellinger. He's got a lot of videos out. Actually, he's been doing some interviews with all this COVID stuff and so on and so forth lately. I haven't had time to watch much stuff lately, but there's lots going on, lots of information, too much information.
It's good when it's inspiring.
There's so many things we can do. We the people have the power. That's all we have to remember and go back on. It's not the pieces of paper. It's we the people.
Yeah, getting our energy together and moving in the right directions with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel proud. I feel like we're pioneers. We're doing it. Yeah.
In a sense, yeah, because the things that we've been doing have not really been put into the situations that we put them in these last few years. It's interesting watching what's been happening, and it's all awesome. It's all very amazing and awesome, and we'll keep going. And
Yes.
the light, like I was saying earlier, the light's coming through, and more people are accepting the light, because what we've been doing up to now hasn't worked. We destroyed the freaking planet. It didn't work. So we need to change. We need to change. And how do we change? Well, we start with ourselves, right? We work on our temple and basic things, clean ourselves up, and we start looking at the world in a different way. Once we start doing that, it's automatic. It happens to everyone. Some of us won't be ready. It's too much of a shock and change, and then they'll filter back to their old ways. But they'll never forget that experience, and some of them have come back, because you cannot let it go completely.
Yes.
To experience that, and that's the beauty.
Yeah. I'm one of them. And then I'm listening to Mike, I believe his name is Hudima, who's going around the world and finding where people are making a positive change as far as global warming, as far as health. And he's trying to share that with everybody. And he's finding a lot of good.
Global warming. Yeah, I don't really agree with global warming myself. I know there's climate change, and there always has been, and there always will be on this planet.
Yes.
So you have different rates of temperature changing across the planet in different forms that we just don't understand. I don't care what science says about it all; they don't have a clue what's going on, and they never will, because you know, when you start seeing them experimenting on everybody, spraying the air and so on and so forth, you know they're completely out of whack with how creation works. The intellect is taken over and believes that they know better than Creator.
Mhm.
Just like with everything else.
It's just like with everything else, you know,
Yeah,
we know nothing, and this is
Hi, Raina.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
this is the beauty and the simplicity of what the information that have presented and support is. We try and keep it as simple as possible. And if you looked at Master Fast System from the beginning till now, it's gotten more simple. The way we speak and the words we use and so on and so forth and what we do, we don't want to use our intellect. We've moved away from that as much as we possibly can. We're not perfect. We stumble and get into that a little bit here and there, but consciously we correct ourselves when we see that. It's keep it simple. What is the body? What is it? You know, the health, and what is health? It's an imbalance or balance. How much more simple do we want it? Never mind all the names of all the diseases and all that. That's big pharma stuff. Pharma cartel. We don't partake in that stuff. And the less we use all their words, the more empowerment we'll have. So that's why I'm a proponent of using different words that keep things very, very simple and get us to a place where we have the information to do what we need to do to get the results. And that's it. Just, focus on that and living it day by day, enjoying. It's all good.
It's great. There's a belief that when you're really happy, that's equal to time you would be spent in prayer, and the things you'd be praying for are manifesting by. I mean, that theme comes back again and again. Our vibration, our ability to let ourselves be joyful. And it's funny, you got to fight for it sometimes. You want to go back to what you've been feeling all your life, a little uncomfortable, right? To let ourselves be joyful is actually an exercise.
Yeah,
distractions everywhere.
We humans, we're monsters. If you heard before, the legal definition of human is a monster in Black's law. So it's all these twists of words and everything. So let's look at ourselves as womankind. Slash mankind. To stay away from their entrapment of their legalese bullcrap. But at the end of the day, we don't accept and understand their legalese, and we overstand our definitions with the way we grew up with, and we don't give power to their stuff.
Ultimately, the power is God's, and we don't want to lose the faith in that. The ultimate power is nobody's power; it's God's power, which is God is everything. So we don't want to forget that, because once we forget that, we're losing the faith a little bit and get distracted from the truth. The truth is that no one can control you. We can hardly control ourselves. So we can't control anyone else, right? So let's just work on ourselves and and have faith that everything is fine. So we have to connect, yes. No, we cannot control ourselves to a certain extent, but also to a large extent we can control ourselves. And I feel that's where people sometimes get, they say I am God. I believe, yeah, there is a higher power, and we have connection to it, and that's how we can, that's as powerful as we can get, really. You know, listen to your inner self. You know, um, it's not that one person is God. There's no way that any human being is a God. You know, uh, God created everything and everyone, and no one is superior to the other one. So yeah. I mean, it's just terms again. Terms, words, right? Words.
Right.
What does human mean? It can mean a negative word. It can have a negative meaning, or
But connecting with each other through words is powerful.
Yeah, what's in the heart? That's what counts the most. What's in the heart? That's gonna say everything without words.
Yeah.
Through the fields.
Yeah, connecting to our inner self as much as we can, and that's the truth, really, and that's as close, I guess, as you can get to God. Being honest with ourselves and truthful.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when we are truthful to ourselves, we're truthful with others as well. It's very interesting. I think the topic of God is one of the most interesting ones out there. I really love it. Because spirituality, it's the spirit. You cannot go beyond that. It's everything. And it's very interesting how sometimes we don't want to blame our connection to God for our differences. It is everybody has it. So we cannot really say, we don't want to be ending up saying, oh, my religion is this and your religion is that. I am right, you are wrong. Because at the end of the day, it's about connecting to God, right? And we have to be as respectful as possible and tolerant towards each other, as long as the person is towards peace, balance, and correct conduct. Who cares? Who cares? We don't want to be fighting. There will be people who will tell you that, we are separate and we are divided because of our religion and the way we pray. Let's not fall for that.
Dividing.
That's not God. I mean, religion's not God, isn't it? They've made their version of God. Not God. That's not God. Why would God want to wrap himself up in some kind of rigid separation, separate form?
Yeah, but religions are not really that bad, they're not bad at all, actually. If you really look at the truly religious people, they are absolutely some of the nicest people out there, and you can see it in every religion. I mean, I know some of the most patient humans, some are very spiritual, like I am talking religious, that I have met growing up. It is just, it amazed me. Even as a kid, I was amazed by their patience. Like I know a woman who her son died. He was, I think, in his 20s, and her son died. Like, it's a family friend, and her son died a few months after my mom died. So I was sensitive, right? And I asked her daughter, because we used to play with her daughters, right? Me and my sister, and we were the same age. I asked her daughters maybe a month after. I said, "How did your mom react when she found out that he died in a car accident?" And he is her eldest son out of, I don't know, maybe 7 kids. I don't remember. He is the first one, and he was in his 20s. He just came from the States after studying, came to Saudi Arabia. And in a car accident, he died, and he with a woman. She was also in the car, and she died as well. And I said, how did your mom react? You know, I was so curious. I was 11. And my friend said, well, you know, my brother came, the second brother. He came and he entered the apartment, and she was standing there, and he told her that he died, he passed. And the mother said, you know what she said? And that's a religious, beautiful woman, you know. She said, thank God. That's what she said. How many people do you know would say that? You know, it's something that is commonly used in the culture in Islam. When you ask somebody how are you, they would say thank God. You know, so it's something that very often used. But when your son dies and you just find out and you say thank God, that's very strong faith, and I just love it. It's just amazing. I still can't forget it. When she said thank God, meaning that, you know, whatever happens, even the worst news that she can ever get, she's still thankful because that's what's meant to happen and she cannot change it. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like there is a lot of beauty in every religion, no doubt, because you can't have a religion that's going to become a worldwide religion without it being having an incredible amount of beautiful wisdom in there. It wouldn't be possible. So it's beautiful, and there's many spiritual people who would call themselves just within various denominations. What I was saying is that so you've got that, but ultimately, when it comes to God, people like these more that were onto something, in that they, even though they were within an Islamic culture, they transcended that, you know, and it was all about the transcending all these man-made forms and need for definition and separation. I think there's a poem, I think it's by Rumi, when he's talking about, you know, you've entered 1,000 temples or 1,000 mosques, but have you ever really entered yourself? You know, you've read 1,000 books, have you ever read yourself? That kind of thing. So it's just, I'm just saying, you know, you do find beautiful spirituality, and you also have the potential for massive levels of misguidance of people and manipulation. I'm from a Muslim family here. I see a lot of people jumping through hoops and ticking the boxes of being a Muslim, but then in their, how are they really living? You know, if it comes to Ramadan, are they really fasting? You know, they're jumping through the hoop, ticking the box, and then stuffing their face every night. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. Is like on a real God level, you can have all of that without the need to define yourself as this or that. So what that lady's response was, that is a deeply spiritual response. But you can have all of that and all the morality and everything that comes with a strong, powerful inner compass and inner guidance without being told that this is codified in a book or whatever. I'm not criticizing, with all due respect, I'm just saying, you know, you can tap into all of that.
Yeah, it's still, you know, these are guidelines. You know, the religions have guidelines, and they're not necessarily bad guidelines. Every religion will give you guidelines just to assist you, but you'll have to connect. I mean, of course, you can go to a church or to a mosque or anywhere and not really feel it. You know, you're just going because it's a culture. It became a culture. It's something that you do.
Yeah.
But you don't really feel it, but you can choose to feel it too. You know, so it's hard. It's really, you know, if somebody wants to follow a religion, why not? Why not? As long as we don't judge each other, respect each other. We don't have to define each other. You know, yeah, it's true. Like, we don't have to go and say, oh yeah, I'm a Muslim. Maybe you are very happy about what, you know, about your religion, and you just want to share it, but then, like, and that's fine, you know, as long as
I
we're
mean,
sharing our
yeah.
beliefs.
If more people in the world, in say the Western world, were religious, but in that beautiful way where they're very tolerant and they're very spiritual and reflective, then that would be a better world in the West, because what we see here is the product of breaking that down. So there's no morality, no moral compass, everything's relative. There's no gender, it's all just totally topsy-turvy. And that's been a breakdown. So obviously there was a lot of rigidity here around what was acceptable or not. That's not necessarily a good thing either, but just the breakdown of the moral compass and of the idea of having values, and that's been a long question, hasn't it? We were talking about Disney and stuff like that earlier. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it would be a better world if there were more people that were religious and are really beautiful in the way that you're talking about. Unfortunately, what we see is a hell of a lot of people that aren't like what we're talking about,
Yeah, the way it's meant to be, right? I mean, it's what it's for Islam. It's 1400 years ago that it started, and for Judaism, what 5,000, and for Christianity, 1900. So it's a long time. So things, I am sure, have changed here and there, but we want to. The message is there for to help us connect. It's in every religion, and that's what we want to focus on. I mean, we have to also, of course, use our brain. I know, God gave us the brain to think as well. And if we feel something is a little bit off balance that we're learning, and that's probably has been added to the religion throughout the time, then don't use that part, then don't use that part. If something doesn't make sense to you, don't do it. You have to feel it in your heart, and it has to feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. But do the other parts that make sense to you.
Yeah, or also, just connect with that within yourself, without having, for those that don't choose a religion, but they are deeply
100%.
spiritual, they are God people, being a God person, not even person's the wrong word, a God man, God woman, so yeah, I'm with you, but we also need to not shy away from looking at how religions are manipulated and used as political tools. They have been from very, very early on, and how they've developed in those ways in order to divide and rule within. Spiritual divide and rule, a big part of how religions are used as well. And I think we need to be able to acknowledge that, because that's, in a way, a lot of them, well, not in a way, but many of them are manipulated in the way that they're practiced, so that people are really actually cut off from God, at the same time as there being a potential for them connecting with God. It's all about how it's practiced in the culture, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I feel sometimes it is more spiritual for me to practice Islam outside the culture, because I feel it there. Yeah, because I am on my own, and now it's me and God. Whereas if everybody's doing the same thing, or it's a culture, many people don't really feel it,
Yeah.
You get trapped and you just live through the culture. But yeah, I do. I think it makes me a stronger person spiritually to be away from the culture and just do it here on my own, just me and God.
Yeah. How is it in Toronto in terms of how is the feeling towards Muslim communities in Toronto, in Canada?
Toronto is very multicultural, so thank God it's one of the most, I would say, tolerant places to other cultures, which is nice because of so many people living together in one country from different places, lots of immigrants. I am an immigrant, his parents are immigrants. Tatiana, are you an immigrant yourself? Yeah, there you go.
England's got lots of different cultures.
Yeah, but no, not like Toronto.
Yeah.
One of the most multicultural. New York, of course, has lots, but I would say Toronto more. Yeah. Yeah, cultures are cultures. You know, it's like another religion. You know, you just do the same thing. You know, because this is the. It's just habits. You know,
Yeah,
cultures are another. You know, thing that really has nothing to do with God. You know.
true. It's all illusory human constructs. Not well, yeah, human constructs. Illusory separation for sure. Jumping through the hoops. Well,
Yeah.
on that note, guys, it's 2 o'clock here, so I'm going to bed. It's been really
Yeah.
lovely talking,
All right.
and
Here.
Take it easy.
see you all soon. Yeah. All right. Night, night. Take care.
Take it easy.
Be well.
That,
You know what I
Sian,
thought?
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Um, you know the temple of God is within you. You know that's.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the best place. How are you
And
doing? Did you break your fast?
tomorrow I will transition to the levels.
Tomorrow. Congrats. So what day?
Gino inspired me to do 72 for the night. Yeah,
Divine Nine.
yeah. I so cherish this experience and the next one that will come.
Are you looking forward to it?
No.
Well, enjoy it. What kind of stuff do you have in the garden? You mentioned you want to eat from your garden.
Yes.
Yeah, we have tomatoes, but I think I would like to do watermelon or honeydew. I'll buy that. Yeah.
A good
That's
watermelon.
yeah. My dad has grapes, but as so much grape juice, I think I'll wait a little bit. Yeah.
Juice? Grapes?
Sorry.
What is it? Grape juice?
Oh, he has grapes. Yeah.
Ah, nice. Is it already? Are they
Yeah, they're coming.
coming now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of
right.
August.
Cool.
I wish I could send you guys some.
Are they Concord?
I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, they're dark and small.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah, there are many different kinds here, right?
Yeah, it
But
could
all
be.
around Concord.
That's what a lot of people would grow here. They grow because they grow very well.
Yes, he's in Niagara on the Lake, so yeah, that's like wine country. Yeah,
Ah,
very well there. It's a little bit warmer there, like in the winter, and a little bit cooler in the summer, so it's perfect temperature for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they grow lots of grapes there, wineries. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very nice place.
Yeah,
full of wineries.
Yeah, I think he just got it for the land. The place is like small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's beautiful nature. The soil is very rich there.
The most important thing for your meals to break a fast are to have the foods that move through you the quickest.
Yeah, fruits and vegetables.
So yeah, like some people, melon might move them quicker. Some people might be grapes. Everybody's a little bit different. But I'm just saying, whatever moves through you the quickest, that's the foods you want to eat, because everything that's been happening in that GI tract, it's, as soon as you start eating, it stops the fast, but now the body has to, finish and removing the things everything that's been loosened up. So we want to be able to get that out as quickly as possible. And that's the key. So we've seen some people, their bowels come online very quickly, within days. And some people maybe, it takes some weeks before their bowels come online after they break their fast. A lot of it's going to have to do with what you eat for sure.
Yeah.
But everybody reacts differently
Mhm.
when they break their fast. Just embrace it and make sure the bowels keep moving. If they don't move on their own, keep doing enemas. Wash. And they will. They'll move on their own. Like watermelon is, one of the easiest things to move through us. Melons in general. So enjoy it. Hopefully you get a good one.
So this has been your longest fast?
Yes.
Nice.
Amazing.
Great.
But recently I was like confronted with like, as I feel myself moving towards balance. Like I can breathe so much easier. I'm happy in this form, like in the form that it's in. Like it doesn't feel like there's blocks. Like energy is flowing through me. I wrote a little bit about this. I was working so much this week on a few projects, and I was up for like 24 hours. I didn't feel tired at all. Like I even I did like haven't really danced too much in a while, but I did like a spin, and I spin like I don't like 4 or 5 times, just like a it was like in perfect balance, something I couldn't do before. I don't know. I just did it to like move around while I was working on my stuff. That's amazing. And yeah, like my soul like just feels happy. Like I just feel so good in my body. But the downside to that is that that's how I look, is like not so much accepted, and like my close ones being concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, normal.
They cannot feel what we feel.
Yeah.
Unless they go through it.
I don't feel you're looking so different at all.
Yeah.
No? Do you feel the difference? Do you see the difference?
You can't really see a little picture on the screen.
I'm not like I'm not skin and bones. It's not like my ribs are like popping out.
Your face is the same almost?
Yeah, as you get a picture from when you started and a picture now, you'll see a difference for sure.
Maybe because, I don't know. Maybe they or your family maybe has a picture of you, and now, in their heads for a long time.
Yeah, your face didn't suck in a lot, like a lot of people go through it. So that's what you mean, but
yeah, like I would lose weight in my face usually.
Which is okay. But it's I realize this is going to be part of the challenges that as we move towards balance.
Lots of changes.
That's seen as actually sick. And that's too bad. And I don't know, but it feels too like right to be here. So I don't know. Maybe what we do is keep moving towards like where our inner self wants to move, and then maybe we can make looking healthy like the standard, or like or show that. Just too bad. And especially I think it's both for men and women, but like women a lot of the time are also very much valued by like how beautiful they are.
Yeah. I think it's harder for women.
Yeah, I mean, it's for men too to be strong, but it's for them. I feel like it's a lot more about their character and all these other things. But as it is about women, but there's a big like cultural thing. Yeah, and it's too bad because I feel so beautiful, but unfortunately, people choose not to see me that way.
Are you a ballerina?
Okay.
When you were talking about spinning?
I'm not a ballerina. I just like to dance. Not professional.
Wouldn't it be nice if someone criticized that you look too thin? You go, "Watch the energy I have," and you do a beautiful dance for them, and they get really impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. The levels of energy really were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How I can just
and flexibility.
And flexibility, and it really just like sunk in that the food is not the thing giving the energy.
Right, right.
It's the
right.
thing you have to rest from.
Mhm.
And
You're
that's
gonna know much more about that when you eat.
yeah, I think I'm gonna be out cold. Yeah. Go to sleep right away. That's happened to me after like a dry fast and then having a pudding.
Oh, yeah. Or just the juice.
Feel it. Yeah, or just the juice. You feel it little by little. Yeah, but all of this is like lessons and more understanding their perspective. Like there's a lot, and it also will take effort to like release other people's judgments of how they think of you and not see yourself that way. Like release that and look within for the answers.
And you're lucky to have people. You have people that care. That.
Yeah,
worry
exactly.
about you. That's kind of beautiful.
Otherwise,
in
it'd be sad if no one, no one cares. It's wonderful that we have people that care. So yeah, more understanding, more opening up, and I'm so grateful to you guys. I love you all.
Mhm.
We love you too.
Takes courage to be a pioneer.
Well, I'm not the pioneer. I'm laying out a path that Rana and Gina showed us. So
Yeah.
You did.
It's,
You did.
it's,
very special.
it's interesting how everybody goes through the experience, and they're all very similar things that we experience, and that's the magic of the soul. So we must come from somewhere that has the same information.
Yeah. And I really realized the importance of breath and love. Like those are the things that actually feed us.
Yeah.
And,
We breathe too much.
Mhm.
but like there's a lot of those insights about breath came from also from or it brought my attention to it to pay attention to the breath more is that Hilton Hotama book, Man's Higher Consciousness. Yeah. And what he says, people die in their sleep because like they're in a door closed window, and like mattress and bed sheets and things like this, like there's no airflow. He says, and yeah, he has a lot of good points about and then why people are sick in the winter because they're more inside their houses, less fresh air, there's no airflow there, and there's all this stuff gets stagnant. There's also a lot of lessons to be learned, like from cleaning and just being observing while you're cleaning. Like we're cleaning, like the laundry, like changing the rubber thing in the laundry, the seal, and I mean, if you just observe like how dirt collects around you and how it's cleaned, it's a lot of insights of how the body is cleaned. It's not so. It's like Gina says, it's in plain sight.
Yeah.
But you have to watch.
A lot of homes, the air is more toxic within the home than it is outside.
Yeah.
So if you're, because people buy? They buy a lot of chemicals. They use chemicals in their homes. They got carpets or whatever, certain materials and so on and so forth. So if you're not consciously aware of all this stuff, you can have a toxic time bomb ticking away inside the home. And then there's mold.
No.
So there's lots of things you can do to clean the air in the home, right? Having plants.
Yeah.
One thing.
Windows.
If you're in a populated city with a lot of traffic, you don't want to have windows open when there's traffic out, right? If you want to air out the house, you do it, early in the morning or in the evening. In the morning's best because then everything's sort of out. But you don't do it in the high traffic times and so on and so forth. Ozone, you can have ozone running. There's many different types of air purification on the market these days, high-tech stuff and so on and so forth. But basic stuff, you know, if you don't have any moistures built up anywhere in the home, make sure you take care of that so you don't get mold and all that.
You got movement everywhere. Yeah, that's stagnation, just like within us, creates these things.
Same thing.
Air and movement. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that movement continuously flowing.
Yeah.
Here's my one that could be a dumb question that I have to ask. My daughter, I told her I need pure Concord grape juice, right? So she came back. It says pure, 100% pure Concord grape, and then it has like a mixture of juices. I think it might even it has fructose in it. So I think if I put lemon in that and I'm drinking that, I wonder if I'm hurting myself by doing that. I thought I should know the answer to this. If anyone.
You added fructose?
I think, yeah, I believe I can go look, but she thought she was bringing me home. It says like Concord grape, but yeah. But then it says drink, which means it starts with water and fructose.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry. Fructose is usually either sugar beets or fruit, some kind of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't worry much. When you're living a lifestyle of subtraction, we went over this. You continuously allowing the body to purge. If you're eating 7 days a week, then yeah, you got to be worried about everything, all these other extra things. But if that's the only juice available, I'd use it. No, I wouldn't have any second thought about it. No problem. The one we have is the Welch's, which has ascorbic acid.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. Works. Non-organic.
I see there's a lot of people, they don't want to do it themselves, but they really push me in that direction. They want to see something work, I run into that rather than people like trying to protect me there, like, here, I brought you this, because people are looking for hope.
Yeah, people are always looking for hope without doing anything. That's that's why we're in trouble. You gotta take some action. Make things happen. Nothing happens without any movement. So
you two look beautiful, and whoever was just talking, I thought she looked really beautiful too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You are beautiful too.
You are glowing.
Working on it.
The glow is real. So much charge from just this call, the Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
Can go on that for a long time. And I want to say I also feel very empowered with all the tools that you offer, Gina and Rana. Like, I don't know, my dad asked me for some medicine for like his feet, like skin wise, and I don't know. I said that I didn't find that one in North America, and then I was looking into turpentine and how that's really cleared up people's skin stuff. Like if there's so I made like a mixture for him with castor oil and a few drops of that, and taught him to do the foot soak with baking soda and salt, and have him on that. So I feel empowered to like help my closest. He's going. He said whenever he's like at the sea, he's at the ocean, that clears up his skin stuff.
Was it fungus?
Obvious. Yeah, it's like fungus and cracking skin. He had it for a long time.
Also you can do wheat or wild grass.
Yeah.
juice it
I
up,
think
soak
that's next
and
level.
everything, and you can soak that. I've seen
Yeah.
my cousin Mark a few years back. His feet were in really bad fungus state. Athlete's foot, kind of like really. I don't know how he was walking.
Yeah.
I had him soak in the wheatgrass or barley. I can't remember which year, but anyway, one of the grasses, either one. I had him soaking that every day. In 2 weeks, his feet looked perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect. Completely healed all up. It was
You
incredible.
juiced wheatgrass. Mhm.
Yeah, I just, because I used to juice tons of it every day, I would just throw the pulp in the water.
Yeah. What if I use powder? What if I give him powder? Because
You can try it.
we'll try it.
There's powders that are made from juice.
Yeah,
I would,
it's made from juice.
yeah. Those I would
That's right.
think better. But
I
like
feel like it'd be simpler for him.
wild grass, you can go cut.
Yeah,
bruise it
or
up.
maybe juice and like pack for him like for the week. Yeah,
Yeah, bruise it and
that's
just
him.
water and soak your feet for half an hour.
Any kind of grass?
Yeah, and all the long grass, the ones the animals eat, the dogs and stuff. It grows everywhere.
I remember you
Well,
saying that. Yeah, the grass.
So yeah, the grasses are amazing for using externally and internally for healing like cuts and stuff and
How about
Yeah.
things
bruises.
like nettle and dandelion?
Yeah, you can use the herbs.
Any
But the
greens.
grasses are they're really unique because there's animals who actually live on grass their whole life. Like the bison and stuff. They don't eat nothing but grass. So there's got to be something in the grass.
Yeah.
There's like there's over 9,000 varieties of grasses around the world. That's a lot of grass. So why is there so many varieties? Well, it's got a lot of healing power within its information. If you read the books, those Russian book, Anastasia, he's talked about the power of grasses in there too. But, you don't need anybody else. Once you try, you'll understand how magical that stuff will help. But at the end of the day, you got to clean the terrain if you want to see.
I know. Yeah, he's not going too fast, but we have tools to help those that choose not to. So
Yeah. Like people, they use herbs, they get some benefit from them, while they're eating and so on and so forth. But in some situations, you're only going to go so far, and you got to make some changes if you want to see further things. And this is where the stimulants. People praise stimulants. I'm talking about supplements and so on and so forth, because they start seeing changes quickly. But as soon as you get off them, things return.
Yeah.
They don't go after the root and seed causes.
Yeah. I was having an interesting conversation today with this woman. She's telling me about what she does in her garden. She's saying that her soil has a lot of clay, ton of clay, and she said she put like some fertilizer, and she made her own kind of like fertilizer and did that. And she's like, they are literally growing out of nothing. Like, there's like nothing in that. Like it's, I guess, like hard to grow stuff in there, but yeah, she was just like sharing her observation how they like, what do they come, they come from fluff. they don't, what do they feed on? They don't feed on anything. Very interesting.
Yeah. Clay soil, is that what you...
Yeah, like she says that soil has a lot of clay. She was really amazed that she can grow anything in it. Like she can grow so much, she's growing like tomatoes, cucumbers, all this stuff.
Yeah. How do you fix a clay soil, Steve?
Well, she said she made her own like fertilizer thing. She actually saves her leaves instead, like raking them up instead of putting them away. Something I always thought was silly.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
You've been saving them?
Yeah, whenever Marco cuts his grass, I said, bring it here.
Yeah. It's funny, yeah. Like we like we kind of pay to for it to get taken out, and then we pay again to get like put stuff back in. Funny.
Yeah, sometimes I look at the
Answers are in plain sight.
Yeah.
I want to go over the neighbor's garbage.
I had a friend that was growing a couple acres. He retired now. He would have the landscaping guys bring the leaves every year. The leaf. And I mean, he had years and years and years of this stuff built up. And he didn't have to do anything but throw a seed and be done. He grew it in folded leaf.
Yeah. So you just have to turn it sometimes, right? No?
Huh?
You just have to turn it sometimes?
Just
So
leaf.
he tries to see the leaf. That's it.
Compost.
And he keeps doing that every year.
Every year.
And his soil is
Even every fall, they would bring it, and they dump it in, dump it in. Some of the most fertile soil that you can find.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'll go to the park and collect bags and bags of in the fall. Because this soil here, the front yard is just so hard. It's okay.
Cement.
Yes.
You keep adding stuff in every year. It'll take a couple of species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have done magical things with the MFS. I'm sure you can do amazing things with that soil.
Yeah, we all help each other. Thank God for the internet.
You also gotta, with the internet, you gotta know what you're looking for, and you gotta know how to filter.
Yeah, true. You can't just find the master fast.
Yep. That's not something random.
And share that I was taking care of my father, and what surprised me, is that we don't even know the depth of all our feelings, because I think when you are taking care of a parent, you're creating a lot of blessings. And when he passed, the feeling that came from the depth of my soul was deep, deep gratitude, because I knew that I had been close to someone who was very kind, and intelligent for so long. And I didn't even know how deep that feeling goes and how real it is. I thought that was a gift I got back from, about caring for him.
Gratitude.
Yeah. And I couldn't get him when I was fasting, things like that, because he's like, I have to drive the car. I have to, keep control. And, you had to appreciate that too.
Yeah, the whole understanding of fasting is very misunderstood for the most part, and still is.
Mhm.
Even though the information is getting more and more out there, it's going to take time
Yeah.
for more people to understand the magic of fasting. It's always been around, but we've been conditioned to believe other things. So that.
And it's in most religions, somewhere, there's the time you're asked to fast.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brittany, Benjamin.
Hey.
How you doing, Benjamin? You still there? Going through some challenges?
Yes, she is.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Master Fast is here when you're ready.
Oh my god. It's like I'm trying to stay out of my head with everything and just go into it. I was feeling good this morning after my Kalima, and I started to kind of like break stuff up and get some releases from my middle. And then like I had some like water like lodged in there. I was gonna go further, but they had to shower and stuff, so I went downstairs and I was like writing a little bit. I was playing a little bit of music, and you know, I'm not far through this, but it's a start. I mean, the past few days were really scary, and then I just kind of made myself get up, go into it, and just finding my way. It's like they can call it so many symptoms like SIRS, and saying parasite overgrowth and stuff like that, but it's like, what do I have to do except for accept it and just do what I can to get better? You know, I can't run into old patterns anymore. I can't neglect it. I mean, when my energy drops again and I get foggy and I start having trouble focusing, then I just kind of want to stay in my head and lay there, and I can't tap into what I'm going to do next. What am I going to take? I'm very sensitive to a lot of things, but you can't do that forever. I have to get faster. You know, I have to move quicker and gracefully, and I'm struggling with that right now, but it's okay. Like, it's going to be okay. I'm grateful for where I am today versus like where it's been across periods of time. It's just every good moment, even if you're not through, every good moment just puts a lot of things into perspective, and so do the bad moments, you know. It really does.
Let go of the past and all the details. Let it all go.
Yeah, I know that once I'm like, my decision for like tomorrow is I was colon feeding today, and I was thinking to myself, if I'm going to because I'm kind of going by like what parts I've done, like sequentially. And so I was thinking to myself today, do I wash again in the morning, or do I start with my pudding and juice, or should I just keep colon feeding for a few days? I've got stuff like locked up here, so washing deep helped me a little, and so my water kind of absolved, and it tends to move a lot like everywhere, so I still have a kind of I got some like basically the mucus and the biofilm started to come out today, but I just broke it up, and it was kind of moving up because like it mutates, it moves, so it's like up higher.
Let go of the details. Did you eat or drink today?
No. I had actually a little bit of tinctures and tea, just a tiny bit, but that was all I took in.
Okay, go do that for a few days.
Just do that? Okay. Yeah. Now, should I take the pudding and the binders, or should I just wait to do that? Not yet? Okay.
So what are you doing? Just dry fasting and dry?
Colon feeding.
Wow. Yeah, do it for a few days. You'll feel better.
Okay.
So the few days are not the best usually, the first few days. But like in 3 days, 4 days, you feel amazing. Actually, from the second day, you start feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. Like when I use just water, or if it was a colonic, if it's herbs, my body will open and start to break the stuff down and release more. If it's water, I relax into it and I just kind of sink into it. I have to massage a lot, but the water, for some reason, my body doesn't release. But when it's the herbs, it unlocks.
Did you try the
Not yet in a Kalima. I did it in an enema though once, and it helped a little bit. So I can do that more.
Yeah.
That's it. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Brittany.
When you go back to food, what are you gonna eat?
Fruit. When I'm ready, I don't really want to. My body doesn't feel right eating until I'm through this and can start releasing. And I know in the past I've done that. I've gone to eating things I shouldn't have been, and so I had to face the mirror for that. But my cravings are there, like they're always going to be there. When I actually get releases and stuff starts to move and these things start to come through, my cravings go down. And then the mind kind of will be like, oh, now I'm feeling really good, I just want to have something. But until I do, I don't they're always there, but
Did you have cravings today?
I did. I actually the past couple days not really. Like I still kind of will have them, but in the back of my mind, like it's kind of there. But right now I just don't really feel comfortable enough to eat anything. I don't really digest well right now. I'm not digesting anything. So
When you get off the colon feeding, which is a very deep cleanse,
mhm.
when you get off that, you really want to watch what you're eating. There's no room for mistakes. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, that's where I got into trouble.
It's too powerful. And it really helps you, release obstructions and
Mhm.
and feel great. If you're not ready for it, you shouldn't be doing it. If you're going to be like, if you're not ready to eat clean, it's not the best protocol.
Yeah.
I can never like do that again. Like that's what got me into so much troubles. There were days where I wasn't doing my juicer pudding. I was washing. Sometimes I was getting water trapped, and then I'd go into eating. Or even when I didn't get water trapped, I'd go and I'd break it wrong, and it's like pathogens too being there, and they started to take the stuff, but it shocked my system honestly, and so then my whole system locked up.
We don't want to
And
know.
yeah,
Let
so
it go.
yeah. And I'm just grateful that I'm like feeling okay today, because there was a couple days ago where I had some orange juice in the morning and my stomach was like, the pain was so bad and then spasm, I couldn't breathe. I wound up in the ER. And then that whole day I couldn't think straight. I was a mess. I was in pain. I was laying there. I was crying a lot. And then I took some magnesium and I felt a little calmer. And then I knew it was like an isolate, but it calmed my body. But it's still, it's supposed to help you kind of relax and release things. But for me, it doesn't really have that power right now. But it did like relax my symptoms a little bit. But then I knew I had to try to do a couple enemas that night because I was just masking my symptoms. I didn't want to do that. So I was okay after that. But with enemas right now, like while I still have the edema up here, I do have trouble releasing the water with enemas for some reason. Or with Kalimas even too a little bit. I have to wash really deep, and then once the valve or whatever it is that's going there gets that feeling, then I can start releasing the water. But there's times I'll do an enema and I'll feel like I have to release, and it relaxes in and it's like cramping, like it's gonna come out, and it can't. So I'm just figuring it out. It's
What relaxes you?
A lot of things. Sometimes music does, silence, being outside at night with sometimes even the chirping sounds outside. My mind can like relax itself, but my middle and my body, my nervous system in my middle doesn't relax. So I'll like play music or I'll deep breathe or I'll meditate, but whatever's locked up here in the middle doesn't open. So I have to open it physically. But there were days like in the past in my life where, I used to do singing, chanting, toning, and that would unlock my bowels and just move me. So I need to keep doing that. And it's like I wasn't always communicating like exactly what I was experiencing. I was just kind of going over, I did this, it didn't work, and I did this and I got water stuck. And then like, rather than like what I am experiencing, I think it was so much imbalance. It was diet, pharmaceuticals, sometimes forcing my enemas a little too much, or just not being patient with them. So enemas are always beautiful, but if I'm not doing things properly while I've got this, I was researching a little more at one point about with the pathogen like overload, or when they're like locking up in the middle, they kind of lock up the autonomic nervous system. And so
Feed you this stuff.
Yeah, we do it. Actually, they don't. They just wind up there. You know, they grow and they like take
No,
up
who feeds
house.
you
But
this information of how they operate?
what?
Who feeds you the information of how they operate, these pathogens?
Sometimes it was like one group I was in probably a month ago. Toxic mold SIRS. It's like chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and then like mold Lyme co-infections, and they talk about like the SIRS gene and everything, and I think that's real, but I think it does go back to balance and imbalance, and if you can somehow clean the terrain, then everything just kind of turns back on. But you know, for me, it's like I can take a bunch of like tinctures right now, or like antimicrobial tinctures, but until I unlock and relax into and bring balance to the terrain, that doesn't even move things down. It just
You just said it.
sometimes makes it worse, you know?
Something to fix you. It doesn't work that way.
Hmm.
You just got to clean up the obstructions. And
Yeah.
everything clear of itself. The soul works in autopilot. That's the, I don't know how more basic we can put it for you. And
Yeah.
let that other stuff go. The
Mhm.
other people that want to dwell in that, and let them dwell in it, because I was in that stuff for many, many years, and it only got me into trouble. So the choice is always yours. MFS is here when you're ready. You're continuously going back to all that stuff, all these details and how things work and all that stuff and what's going on. Bull crap. We can't prove any of this stuff. And
Yeah.
the sciences are false because they keep changing. So we've done the opposite of it, what everybody else is doing out there, and we've seen most results. So you can accept it or not accept it. The choice is always yours. Simple. Don't have to think about anything. Just do the work.
Yeah.
Do the work. Embrace whatever comes to the surface. Let it flow. When the emotions come up, use the tools to deal with them, because that's the biggest challenge that you and everybody else has. We use the tool to pull us through those emotional purges that we have, because that's where everything lies in. That's the seeds, and they will come up, and they will continue to come up over and over and over until we've learned to deal with them. So embrace the journey, no matter what it is. But you're continuously focusing on all the details. Go back on all your posts. I think you have a record for writing.
Question about that.
I really, oh my God. And you know, it's weird because when actually things start to flow and I break through it, then I just get really like, just kind of like quiet fairy, like just kind of just like in the zone. And then, you know, you go deeper to another layer and stuff comes up. And so you work it. But it was interesting. Like, with I think the stuff I was like learning about, the problem is I don't have like the application with it. And I know like people talking about N-acetylcysteine, NAC. I don't really go with all that because I feel like if you're not cleaning the GI terrain, you don't want to do anything with the liver. Like, why would you even do that? And it's going to make it itself when it's ready. So like, but there is something that I have experienced when I'm not like, when the terrain's not moving and I'm not like releasing, or it's like too toxic, that if when you have like a die off or a parasite dies off, it will release like an endotoxin, but then you have like a cytokine storm where the immune system will try to hold on to, and it'll bind to the DNA.
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Somebody's theory.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from the soul.
Yeah. Don't worry
the
about it too
theory.
much. I mean, trust me.
You don't want to know.
The biology can be very complicated. You don't need to know too much. At the end of the day, what have like all these years of studying biology, and then what? I was feeling tired. I was feeling depressed. I was feeling sick. Didn't learn anything until I learned about cleansing and detoxing. Started studying that because I was interested. Because I detoxed on raw food initially, and amazed by how the body can heal itself. And I didn't really experience much until I did the master fast 2 years after that. And then I was like, okay, like no more doubts. I had no more doubts. All the doubts that I had with the cleansing and detoxing, because I didn't have enough experience with that.
Yeah, that's what I go into is it's like it makes like so much sense, but it's so overwhelming because it fits together, but then it's like it's draining a little bit. It's a
So
lot. It's
fast,
a lot.
all my questions were answered, to be honest. But then when, on and off and on and off, that's where you learn the most, really. Not in a long, just long master fast. Long master fasts are beautiful. You learn a lot from them because of the transformation you don't get with shorter fasts. But it doesn't really, the belief system changes only when you go on and off,
Mhm.
then like truly it's like your belief system, because it shows you what happens when you're on, what happens when you're off, and you keep doing it over 1,000 times, and then
Yeah.
it's like it's just it gets registered here, and you will know that science does not matter at all. You don't need to know any of that stuff.
It's not going to help you.
You really don't.
It's not going to help
It's
you
a
one
waste
bit.
of time. It's nice. I mean, it's nice to okay, see cells and whatever, drawings, and try to understand how things work. But learn the very, very basic stuff. You don't need to go into the names. I don't know how sometimes some people are very good with names, and they can learn very difficult terms that makes them look so smart. Really, okay. If I haven't
Yeah,
studied biology, I would have thought I'm.
it doesn't say a lot. Yeah.
If I didn't study biology, I would have thought that I would have thought that I was the stupidest person, because I can't memorize all these names, okay? Unless I have to. But some people don't even study science, okay? And they know all these names, like for example, keto. They would sit down and explain the biology of keto, and I'm like, okay, good for you. You know a few terms, like scientific terms, but it makes you look smart. But really, like, you're so far away from nature,
Yeah.
and
Because it's like endless. The knowledge and all those things, it's just like it'll go on forever, but it's not if the dance and the emotion and the soul and the heart isn't there, then it's just a brain, like with theories and ideas. And yeah, it's at first like starting like years ago, like getting through this before I messed it up, like it was like science, but it was like spiritual to me as well. It was like almost like it was like the essence between the light and the darkness, and was understanding just a lot of things with there's oh my god, there's like a lot, but there's just so many different things out there, and I think I spiral out into like confusion sometimes where I don't want to like listen to other people sometimes, because then they're like, you should take zeolite instead of like bentonite, and I'm like, no. And so but then I have to just kind of get over my fears, because sometimes until I think I'm washed deep enough and this opens a little more, I'm nervous to take my pudding because I'm nervous about it like not moving down.
I'll tell you something, okay? I see a lack of faith. I see a lack of faith. You haven't done any, like, how long was your longest master fast? You haven't even
It was
experienced.
just a few days, honestly.
You haven't really experienced the master fast, but you're
Mhm.
Over and over and over.
and this is because of the lack of fast. So you're still young in master fast, okay? You haven't really experienced it, and you're questioning it a lot because you're not ready. When you're ready, you will read the protocol. It makes sense to you. If it makes sense to you, you do it. But if you have lots of questions coming up and some things don't make sense to you and you get confused, asking other people about it because you don't trust it fully, then it's gonna make things. I mean, it will stagnate you. You will not
Yeah,
be
it's like I don't ask others about the master fast. It's like more like there's this part of me that comes in that like wants to prepare like my upper body or somehow like get waste moving out before I like go into the master fast, but that doesn't make sense because when I do go into the master fast and the juice starts stirring stuff up and I'm not able to I worry when I can't like get it out if it starts stirring all this stuff up and then the stuff doesn't come out and it's stirring up in my body, then I get scared.
People come from the standard diet, the long master fast, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were on all kinds of like you name it, drugs, you know.
Yeah.
Slowly, they were able to, you know, come back to balance. Now, yeah, it looks like you have lots of questions and you're afraid to try it, to do it. You're afraid to do it.
Your answers will come through the experience.
Mm-hmm.
From your soul, Marv. Well, we're saying.
You look at an event. You're looking for a one-time event to happen. It's not going to happen. It's a process.
No, not that. Just to actually get things
When
like
you're talking,
out of my GI tract, just to get things to move.
Listen, go back and listen to what you said tonight, and you'll see you're looking for an event.
No, not an event. Just to actually be able to get my bowels to move.
You're looking for an event to happen.
The experience will allow everything to go back to balance.
They're not going to just move, you know, your bowels. It's gonna take time. If they are giving you trouble, you have to give them time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's had as much challenge as you with the bowels. So there's something going on there. You have an emotional blockage there or something. Physical could be as well. But what we know is the soul will be able to repair that if you allow it.
That's what I need to do because that's what the problem is there has been a blockage there. Like, and when I start getting out, some of it is worms, but it went on for such a long time that
it doesn't matter.
It's kept there.
It doesn't matter.
We all have worms. Why are you having more trouble than us?
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's a matter of just keep consistent every day.
People butchered to hell from the pharma cartel restore their bodies. Like completely butchered to hell. Restore.
Yeah.
What have you had? Have you been butchered to hell?
I mean, they did a lot. Yeah. I didn't
Not
like
what we have. You have seen really.
Oh no, not with like the mechanical procedures and they're taking organs out and all that stuff. No. They've like loaded me up like when my bowels were stuck and then they loaded me up on like all these like psychiatric drugs and gave me like spasms. My liver just like one day was like in so much pain that I just passed out. Yeah, they would inject me with all this stuff and then I said I wanted to leave. And I said like I'm not going to stay, like I'm going to sign myself out, and they said like no, like you need to stay. And so I refused my medication one day because I said to them, I declined it. I said like, I'm fine. I'm okay. I just want to go home with my family and I'm whatever. And then they injected me like 3 times and they do a lot of stuff, but not like, I haven't gone through like the stuff where they open you, they just go and, you know, take stuff out and everything like that. But they definitely damaged a lot of stuff though.
Psychiatric drugs, yeah, they do a lot of damage.
Some people live on drugs for so many years, and
that was what did it, like so many times, like over day after day after day, and they'd inject and then load me up, and he's like, I don't think you're doing quite well because you're still talking about not physically feeling well. So then I would just not talk, and then he's like, I'm gonna up your Clozaril, and then so I said, no, actually, can you stop the Clozaril because I'm blacking out every day and I can't stand up, and it was the weird, like the most terrible things in those places. Just because I said that I had a microbiome imbalance. So they called me delusional and they threw me in the psych ward for 7 months. And
7 months.
That's before I found MasterFast. That's like where I was for like 7 months. And so I told them my bowels were blocked and they weren't moving. And so they didn't believe me. They thought it was in my head. Gave me Senna every night. And then they started asking me, are your bowels moving? Are you relaxing? I said, I'm trying the best I can. You've got me on like 5 drugs and I'm like seizing all the time. And I literally, I wanted to die like so many times. I never was like that, but I just wanted it to be over. And then finally they came up to me. They're like, we really do think you have something going on physically. We just wanted to work on your mental health. And I'm just sitting there and I was just like staring at them like,
How do they work on it? They chemicals.
exactly. And it's just, and I said to them, I said, honestly, there's something going on like in my middle and it was really painful. And I was in the ER and I just asked you to help me because they said that something looked weird with my middle or my gut. And then I mentioned parasites once. I never should have said it. I said I may have a parasite overgrowth. And then they do a little stool test that tests for, it's kind of funny actually. It's kind of weird. They test for two parasites, Giardia and one other thing. There's thousands of them you can have. And if it comes back negative, like then automatically you're delusional. And they put me inpatient and I was committed. So then basically I sat with the attorney and I said to him, because I was sick for a long time, like, and so before that, when I was on my own, I was trying to find my own place to live. I was stressed, so it made it a little tougher, but I was doing herbal work and everything like that and doing detoxes. And I started passing a lot of these things and I was doing better. And I came to a craving and it kind of came back when my fog came up. And so I went back in, I was doing all right. And then one day I wound up with a pain pretty bad and I was there for just stomach pain. And I just told them what I was going through. And so they admitted me and I got committed, which means you can't leave. And I almost got sent to a state facility because when they were asking me if I was better, I was physically sick, really, really sick. I couldn't function. I still struggle with that. But when I do some of this and work into this, I can function. But there's a lot of days where I'm just not. And so
No, you're just listening to too many people out there. You're so confused.
yeah. And so then, yeah, I was there a long time and I couldn't leave. My bowels weren't moving. They were giving me Senna and then they're like, well, your bowels aren't moving. When they would ask every day if your bowels moved. And I said, no. And they said, are you relaxed? I said, I'm as relaxed as I can be in this kind of condition with these kind of drugs in my system that are making me shake, like hyperventilate. I said, but I'm trying. And so whatever I had going on with my gut, which was a chronic thing, it got worse. And then finally, they were going to send me to a state hospital. I went for a court hearing with the attorney. And he said to me, he looked at me and he's like, I talked to one of the gastro doctors here. And he actually knows about pathogenic overgrowths and infections. And he doesn't actually think you're wrong. I said, well, can he come in here? He said he's not allowed by law to do that. And so I said to him, I said, what do I do? He said, you need to lie. You have to lie about everything. And you have to say that you made all this up and you think you made it up. And that's the only way we can get you to not go to the state. So I told them that, I really thought that I had an imbalance in my gut and I wasn't feeling well and my GI tract wasn't good, but I'm feeling okay now. And I think I was just overthinking all of it and that's it. And so then finally they let me go back to New Jersey finally when they found a place I could go. And so I was out on my own. My parents believed the psychiatric doctors that I just was struggling with depression. And that was it. And so then I eventually talked to them. And when I found Masterfast and I started doing okay, and I had to work really, really, really hard just to get stuff out of me. But when it did, honestly, the first day I released the stuff, I started to cry really hard, good tears. I cried like so hard. And I talked to my dad, and that was when he realized that, I wasn't crazy. And then the last doctor I had seen before I stopped that, because, it was expensive. But I just mentioned that to him, that I was there that long and that they had me locked up there. And he's like, that's a crime, right? And I said, I know. I said, I'm going to address that one day, but right now I just want to work on myself, I don't have anything against those people. It's just, but scary stuff happens in those places.
Yeah.
They pin you to the wall. They just, and it's like, I want to say I'm not angry, but in ways I was, because I was all right before that ever happened. And not great. I was still working on, health issues, chronic stuff like a lot of people go through. And some of that was my diet. A lot of that was my diet. So I was working on that. I was doing okay. And then I wound up there, and, you know, and don't ever talk about shamanism in those places either.
Oh.
You're crazy if you talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, so, you know, you've revealed some new stuff that we didn't know about you. And if you maintain holding on that past, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're stuck there. If you continue to search out there for your answers, you're going to get more confused.
Mm-hmm.
Allow yourself to trust in your soul. Whenever you start, some thoughts come through your head about how all this stuff's working, push delete.
Mm-hmm.
Delete, delete, delete.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Delete it. Just delete it. And continuously say delete, delete, delete. Anytime you these thoughts come into your head, you know, they may not even be your thoughts because they have the technology to put thoughts in our head.
I know that. Yeah. And do you know what is interesting though? And another girl I knew went through this. In those places, when your gut goes like that, because I've not met them a lot, but reptilians or the powers that be that run these places. When I was first there, and I secretly was detoxing myself with an herbal laxative in that place, and I raised my vibration, I started seeing how the system was like, it was like robotically like orchestrated there. And then I started spiritually, my awareness got so heightened that I was literally seeing like how like the puppeteers that were running like the puppet show, like everything, and how it was so perfectly orchestrated and everything like that. And they, not only parasites are a natural thing, but with these drugs and like the way things were engineered in society by the dark agenda, these things can be, when I actually release them or whatever, and I start to do okay, like after getting out of those places, I'm like myself again. But like until then, like you're not yourself. And things happen. Like one day I was resting. It was actually after the hospital, and then it happened again like maybe a few weeks ago, where I was just meditating, and I sent love to my gut, and I just sat with my soul, and I listened, and I heard the entities that are connected to these things, and they're not good beings. And so I have to let go of that. And that's what I know I have to do. And I have to just allow myself to heal and assist myself in the deepest ways that I can to heal from this. But there's definitely some things going on out there. There was a girl who went through this chronic inflammatory response syndrome that I have, where even eating certain things, it's this mutating mucus fungus that adapts itself, and it adapts its DNA. But there are also, she was side lighting a cannabis.
Back and always back and forth to this intellect stuff. I can't have it. It's putting me to sleep. That's anybody else want to share some? We could go into a meditation and clear all this nonsense up.
Yeah.
It's not going to help you, Brittany. You've been at this months now, and you're regurgitating the same thing over and over. If you don't want to let it go, there's not much we can do. MFS is here when you're ready. And MFS is about letting go, embracing the journey. It's simple. The art of subtraction.
Eating obstructive food.
The art of subtraction. You either embrace it or you don't. There's no in between. I don't know how much more simple we can make it. Everything that you've talked about is not going to help you at all.
Yeah, it's not.
Everything you wrote, almost everything you wrote is not going to help you. it's actually gonna keep you where you are
Yeah.
until you've decided that it's time to change and embrace a new lifestyle. Once you've done that, everything will change. Uh, I can see you in, you know, a few months. You're a different person already. Different woman. Completely different, because you've made the change. You've decided. If you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you always got.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do for the gazillionth time? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna join the?
See, one day this is gonna be really funny. It's like
You're gonna join the Autopilot Soul Club, or are you gonna continue to play and matter?
the Autopilot Soul Club.
Mhm.
That's
Oh.
all that where you see out there masks, matter state.
No,
or
none of that. None of that.
the realm
Some
of
of
evidence where we've seen everything's possible.
Yeah. And some of like the other like like herbalists that I met that were making like they were explaining stuff about the plants, and that's like what kind of like is inspiring to me too, because like I love to learn about the herbs and stuff like that, but then I spend too much time doing that and I don't
We love our
implement it.
herbalists, matter state though.
What?
We love our herbalists, but they're speaking through matter state.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
How
I have to
many
remember that.
And I'm thinking you're so lucky that I'm sure you can run and you can jump and you can use your arms and your hands and your feet so gracefully. And I would love to hear a song. I'd love to hear you sing sometime, something that you've created.
Yeah.
I want to do that again. Yeah. The past, to be honest, the past week I was having trouble like functioning and moving, and then that day I recorded every up of energy I get when it's like in that state. Like I'm there tonight again too. That's when I do that, because I could like the other times are just I don't even want to talk about them, but yeah, it's like beautiful, and that feeling, and just not focusing on like where it could be or where it was, and like in a good way, just like know that it will come, and just see it manifesting. And last thing I like realized was I have to let the mind go, because sometimes if I take stuff in and stuff doesn't come out, then I'm like oh, I'm more toxic, and I get
Here we go.
worried. And that's where I have to let go, because I don't like to hold on to anything in my body, or I get like worried. So
A lot going on.
If you trust in the soul, you know that it does everything with perfection, and you don't need to discuss it. You just embrace it.
mm-hmm.
And it does it every time. I haven't seen it ever fail. It only fails if you don't allow it to happen. So we know that if you follow the protocol, it happens. So are you going to continue to search out there, or are you going to trust in your soul?
Just trust in my soul. Can I add turpentine to my juice, or should I not do that? I know some people did that, or should I just do my juice by itself? Okay. Oh, that was really peaceful.
Externally, if you like, here and there, but I'm not a fan of oils internally in general. Turpentine is an essential oil, and we love essential oils. We use them, but externally, you can just sniff it.
Yeah. This is where I have to surrender, because I have to let go of the past too, because there were times I took a lot of dangerous stuff in internally and it never came out, and I just caused a lot of damage. So I have to let that heal. I damaged myself. It wasn't just the things I went through.
Master fast to be able to release that stuff. You don't allow yourself into the master fast.
I mean, there's a lot of days where I'll start and I'll be doing my parts and everything like that, and then
there's no parts. It's just
kind of.
there's no parts.
I watched this documentary.
What?
There's no parts to this.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
That's what I mean. Is a lot of days I'm just doing that. Some days I'm even though I haven't moved stuff out, there's days I'm dry because I feel better dry. And then there's days I'm dry because that's the only way I can function well. And then I go into liquid things.
One thing you have refused to try this whole time that you've been here, and that's just trying to follow the protocol. You have refused to do that since day one.
I know. I don't know what comes over me where I just, before I take my pudding and juice, I just
That's where
freeze.
you need to
Why do
focus.
you do that?
You're not ready for it. It's when you're ready, we're here for you.
Not ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
You're holding on to something that is serving a purpose. I've said it before. Whatever it is, serving some purpose that you're not willing to release yet.
Exactly.
That's where your focus needs to be, not anywhere else.
If you were ready,
If you can, and nobody can help you with that. You're the only one that knows that. If you
Yeah,
can
when
get to
you're-
that point and get that taken care of, the magic will start. I said from day one, it's an emotional block. I believe I still believe that. I'm not discounting any physical things that are probably going on. It starts here,
That's what I'm having a hard time with is like whatever's going on up here.
but it starts up here.
we don't want to know.
But I release the mind, but when I'm washing, like water for some reason it moves and that's okay. Like
Trying to figure out
it'll
what's going
up
on.
here.
It's irrelevant what's going on.
it's okay. So just allow it. Okay. I'd have to let it go. I do.
You just allow. You don't have to do anything.
It's not easy. I mean, especially you starting. I've been at it a little longer than you. But today's
Mhm.
what, 34 days. But it took about 7, 8 days this time to get in. And then it's
Oh,
in. They're in.
we're-
They're in. I mean, those 7 or 8 days were some of a bitch, to be honest with you. First week was not easy.
Yeah, and that's what I remember too. When I started, it took like
That's
a few.
where you gotta just trust.
Yeah,
You can't run from, it's fear. It's simply fear.
yeah.
Embrace it. Acknowledge it, embrace it, set it in its place, and continue forward. It's the only way.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not
you're living.
go out into these other, and I see that a lot of people have done that. Where they just go out into these all other groups and this and that, then they're all freaking confused, wondering what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah, as long as you're looking for addition, you're going to be confused, and you'll continue to be searching and searching and searching.
Usually, like
And you
When I
even
did
said
that, I
yourself how well you felt in the dry. In the dry, there was no thing, correct? There was no thing in the dry.
exactly. It's like there were times I went in a temporary like direction to like look at like certain herbs or whatever it is to just alleviate this symptom so that I'd feel like more comfortable going into MFS. But then like I was just like, I don't know.
But you
Yeah,
want to alleviate it. You'll never get rid of it if you're alleviating it. It
Just to,
will
like,
never
kinda, like-
heal. It will never heal.
yeah. Yeah.
Bernie, have you watched some of the interviews?
Yeah, actually.
Your trust. There was a woman I think that took antidepressants for 15 years. There was a few people like that.
I mean, I remember what I experienced at the
trust.
beginning of this year, like on the protocol. I just remember when that came out of me. I've been foggy since then, so I don't remember what exactly, like I know I followed it and I don't remember like exactly when I did my parts or whatever, but I know like that day, like what came out of me was just like I had never experienced that before, you know?
It's very powerful. All parts are essential. We don't actually have to think and do much. Gino did all the experimenting for us.
Embrace the whole protocol. There's no parts to the protocol. It is a protocol.
DNT twice a day, sip your juice, clean your bowels.
It's a procedure. Trust
Today.
the process. When these things come up, just trust the process.
Yeah, and if bowels or even the juice, if stuff doesn't move out like the first couple days, that's okay, right? It doesn't matter.
Trust the process.
Okay.
It's so slow. It's so slow. I can just say for mine, like I didn't
What do
see.
you got to lose? You've tried everything else.
Yeah.
And also went back to eating obstructive foods.
Yeah, you've tried everything else. What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
Your time is up, Brittany.
Yeah.
We're
But
gonna-
this-
Today I watched this documentary on blood plasma, on how there was a company, a Swiss company, I think it was, how they're buying blood from the US. I think it was in Ohio, where they're in the poorest town where it was devastated, and their people are selling their blood donation, not giving blood for a fee. 'Cause that's the only way they can survive. Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
What's carried within the blood? The emotion
The
of man.
sewer system.
Yeah, it's the emotion of man. It's the sewer system. Yeah, in the physicality. And there's people lying to so they can get paid, because that's the only way they can live.
Wait, so
They're lying about they're not taking drugs and all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
And these pharmaceutical companies are buying this stuff and making drugs with it. Even the stuff, what's it called? The Red Cross that people donate. 80% gets sold to pharmaceutical companies to make drugs. People are giving blood thinking it's going for just transfusions. No.
Oh my God.
Blood plasma.
Wait, that's why. Okay. And then the last thing,
Plasma is? It looks exactly like urine.
water. It's supposed to be like things are supposed to. Our blood. I thought years ago when I got pure that our blood's supposed to be like water-ish. That's what I like experienced once. I would get cuts and they would heal like immediately. It was, but like big cuts, and but yeah, and then what they do with the adrenochrome too. But the interesting thing about it is I remember years ago, and I wanted to not take my thyroid medicine anymore, and I went on my spiritual journey, and then they kept saying your TSH is going to keep going up, your TSH levels have to be normal, and then it would go up, then it would go down, then go up and down. And they're like, why is it doing that? I said, because it has to do with what I'm experiencing in my reality, and it has to do with how I'm feeling energetically. I said, it has nothing to do with the measurements that you're trying to take. I said, it's always changing. I said, you can't measure that. And then they thought that I was like being weird. And then I was like, I'm not going back. And my mom was like, you have to go back and get your thyroid levels tested. I'm like, Mom, I'm done. I'm not going back ever again. It's like, yeah.
So,
But then they said I couldn't live there if I didn't take the medicines. So.
Oh boy. What a jungle. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the stuff that's going on with these pharmaceutical companies, my goodness gracious. Nothing to do with health should ever have, should be able to make a profit. And no company should be able to make a profit. Anything to do with health. This is wrong. This is big time wrong. That's why everybody's wearing masks out there.
yeah.
It's insanity what's happening. And until
There was a fella today on the side of riding his bicycle on the path on the side of the road, full mask on, all by himself, not a soul around.
Yep.
It's so sad to see.
I just decided that as like I have it better, I don't want to wear them anymore. I won't wear it.
We can continue to do what we've always done and continue to get what we've always gotten. It's only going to get worse, or we're going to have to make changes.
No, I know about helping people heal. I know that my first degree is psychology, and people when they were growing up, if their bodies weren't being respected by people around them, they'll go on and they'll continue to do things that might hurt themselves or endanger themselves, and that's being what do they call that? Con- uh, a counterphobia, something that was scary, and then you put yourself there. But I know something that helps people heal is expressions of compassion aligned with affection, aligned with someone putting their arm around you, or patting your hand or your shoulder at the same time, saying something affectionate can really help people
It changes the world.
let that go. It does. We do laughter yoga, and you can start like, I don't feel like laughing, but it's so funny, and in like 10 minutes you're feeling so much better. Little ways we can really help heal the world.
Yeah, we're social beings, and we need hugs and touches and kisses and so on and so forth. It really helps bring balance to people, because it's all about the fields. It's the feeling, the field strength. All the other stuff doesn't matter.
It really does transform the person, huh? When there is hugs and kisses and affection involved. Yeah.
What's happening now is atrocious to what they're doing to the children and so on and so forth. It's insanity.
That's a freaking crime.
Sad.
Crazy. Not the pedophilia. That's another story. I'm not putting masks on children in schools and separating them and so on and so forth, so they can't play with each other. It's crazy, insanity. All these people need to be locked up forever.
Thank God
this is insanity.
The kids are, thank God they will play. Whether you put a mask or you don't put a mask.
It's going to psychologically destroy these people. Can you imagine what these people are going to grow up into? Robots. They're going to be robots.
They'll be laughing at
Hopefully families, a lot of families are closer, more intimate through all this.
Or maybe there would be warriors when the big change happens.
Well, this is it. We're not going to allow that crap to take place.
They will be laughing at us.
We're going to see all these powers that want to be all locked up. That's where they need to be, all locked up, so they can contemplate.
Yeah, we're all connected. We got to help heal each other.
We need to separate their souls from their bodies.
Well, they have to do that on their own. We'll give them a needle if they want to take themselves
We'll take locked up for now.
It's like, man, oh man, it's how do we come to an understanding of this stuff? It's difficult. It's difficult. But killing never solves anything. Doesn't teach us anything. Never has. Wars never taught us anything. We never learned anything. Keeps happening over and over. So we have to come to a new understanding of how to handle these things. But what do they do in that one African tribe when somebody, for example, steals something? Instead of punishing them, they all gather around and they all bombard him with all the goodness that he's done or she's done.
Mm-hmm.
They ignore the crime, whatever. They just bombard them. We're here.
They remind them their nature.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I love that.
It would transform the person from a negative energy to a positive one. Like
this is just.
It's all about how we feel, right?
On the fields. The fields can change everything. So we have to do stuff differently. We can't continue. Yes.
Yeah, we have to learn how to transform the energy. We really have to.
Elevating the souls.
We have to love deeply, otherwise there's no meaning to life.
Yeah, more and more of us continue to elevate these souls. There's going to be a change. The laws of creation do not fail.
Yeah, and you know what, guys?
It's very difficult for us to comprehend and believe, but the universe has been in operation for billions of years.
Yeah, and I want to say that it starts with ourselves, in our home, with our partners, our families, our kids, and then outside the home. But it really does. I mean, I feel like somebody mentioned this on the Master Fast, and it's so true to me, that everything that's happening outside is a reflection of me inside.
Yeah.
bit scary, isn't it? It's a little
We're
bit
all
scary.
cesspools.
It's a little bit scary to see that all this mess that's outside is actually a reflection of my insides, you know.
But it's not scary because as people realize that, we realize that we don't have to be
Yeah.
helpless victims, that we're in control and we can change it.
Yeah, it starts with realizing
Hmm.
how much we can change, because if we don't like what's happening, the results,
Let's
then you know,
let's tap into the limitless realms with a meditation
okay.
Yes.
and and start putting some progress to changing things. Let's get comfortable. Close our eyes. Start focusing on that breath. Take in the breath from the bottom of the tailbone, drive it up to the top of the head when you inhale. On the exhale, drive it down the front of the body, back around to the tailbone. Cycle the breath a few times like that. With each breath, we get more and more relaxed. As we tap into the limitless realms of the fields where the plasma love is always flowing and continues to flow. We can tap into that anytime we choose. All creation comes from that. Keep your tongue in the roof of your mouth or curl it back and suck on it. Keep your hands in a relaxed state in the regular mudra, or you can use the heart mudra or any other mudra you like. And keep focusing on the breath as we spiral inwards into the abyss of our souls. The journey of the soul, which has chosen to be here on this planet Earth at this time, so that we can transition this place into the realm of light. We all chose to experience everything that happens in our life. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, or it wouldn't happen. With each breath, we go deeper and deeper. As we hit a point, we won't even feel the physical body. We're so relaxed. The languages that we use are very limited, and they can entrap us. But when we speak through the soul, which is voiceless and wordless, the understanding is complete. In the physical realm, we do it through the heart. We send out fields of plasma love always flowing, with the stronger fields feeding the weaker fields. Plasma is always seeking balance. It knows nothing else but to seek balance. And it will continue to seek balance for perpetuity. Picture yourself walking up to a big mirror As you look at yourself in the mirror, you see the illuminance of that beautiful, brilliant, translucent magenta light coming from your head, which is the soul speaking in fields. Listen to what your soul is telling you. If we tap into that knowledge of all one creation, we'll all come up with very basic, same answers of how creation operates. And anytime we go off track from that, we see the imbalances and confusion come into our lives, where we just have to catch ourselves and look back into this mirror. The mirror reveals all. The mirror of truth. Looking into your own eyes. Continuously focusing on that breath, cycling it around your body. With each breath, we go deeper. As we look in the mirror, we see the planet in the state it's in right now. From all the years that we humans have been destroying every part and aspect of this planet. We're all responsible for everything that takes place. And once we take responsibility, full responsibility, then we can make changes. Nothing happens before that. Keep focusing on the breath. If the mind wanders, bring it back. The journey of the soul continues. Let's ask our souls, what's the next step to awaken womankind into the realm of light? Stop all this nonsense that's going on. And allow Mother Earth to restore balance. continuously ask for the solutions. And the answers will come up. Limitless realms are infinitely abundant. Absolutely no lack in creation. Creation continues because it continues to give freely. Plasma love always flowing is the evidence. We are all here is the evidence. Everything on this planet, all the inhabitants, plants, insects, animal kingdom, and the oceans is the evidence. Even with the evidence, some of us choose to remain blinded. As we go inwards and look in the mirror of truth, we can deny it all we want, but the answers are in plain sight. When we're born into this realm, we take our first breath. And we believe that the breath carries life. How did life come to be without the breath? It's because plasma love is always flowing. The breath is also an obstruction. As we continue to purge the physicality, we notice our breath gets less and less. The more obstructed, the sicker we get, the more we breathe. These are simple signs of the answers in plain sight if we choose to pay attention. Take a note of any messages the soul is giving you now. Are we ready to fully trust and allow the journey to continue, embracing every aspect of it, no matter what? With each breath, you go deeper and deeper. The journey of 1,000 suns. Focus on the field of your heart. Continuously focusing on the breath. As we send plaf to all the leaders of the world, all these mega big corporations, we elevate all these souls so that their soul may direct them into peace, balance, correct conduct, according to the laws of the universe, so that they may not be able to operate any other way. Each and every one of us is responsible. Somebody with older man with white hair, red military jacket, just laughing. We elevate his soul wherever he is. Mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Continuously look at yourself in the mirror of truth. Just keep sending plaf. Our journey of the soul continues. We can come to this place anytime to search for answers. Time for more love, more appreciation, more joy, more gratitude, more love. Focus on the breath, cycling it up the spine, on the inhale, down the front. As we start to journey back to our physicality. We keep that heart space of Ploth just pouring out to all the lower field strengths who need it. You can consciously leave that on perpetuity. Continue giving Ploth. And only raise our field strength. As we get ready, come back to our body. Start wiggling our toes or fingers. Move our neck or shoulders around. And when we're ready, we can open our eyes. And we're back. The journey of the soul. Hallelujah. We all made it.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Much appreciate you being here.
We started with the boys, we ended with more girls.
Keeping the energy balance.
Awesome.
Love you
Good
guys.
night.
We are here, Brittany, for when you're ready.
We're always here for you.
All
Always here for
that
you.
stuff, it's caca. Flush it down the toilet.
You're a new person.
It's all the past. Flush it. Delete.
Every day.
Ciao, ciao.
Love you.